Chapter 57:26. Of course, even if Lin Feng wanted to go to the Broken Dragon Abyss, he would have to wait until the end of the gathering. After all, he had already promised the first princess to attend the gathering. After chatting with the first princess for a while, the first princess left. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint did not follow Lin Feng to the Hall of Supreme Harmony. Thus, they did not know what was going on there. Du Zhu asked, "Young master, did everything go well?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "It went rather well, and I was even conferred the title of Earl." Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint curled their lips. They naturally did not think highly of the title of Earl. However, they knew that this was a special period, so Lin Feng had accepted the title of Earl. Lin Feng said, "Let's stay here for a few days and then we'll leave." Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint nodded. In the next few days, Lin Feng basically did not go out, and he stayed in the courtyard to cultivate. When the day of the gathering arrived, the first princess sent someone to bring Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint to attend the gathering. This time, the gathering was held in a high-class manner. This manner was different from the restaurants outside. It was a private gathering place, and it was not open to the public. The environment of the manor was very elegant and unique, and there were many beauties here. If one had a good time here, they could stay for the night. They could find beautiful women of all shapes and sizes, and they could enjoy themselves. Of course, a manor like this was extremely expensive, and the people who organized the gathering did not care how much you spent here. Everything you spent here would be counted as your own expenses. When they arrived, there were already many people here. Most of them were cultivators from the dragon race, but of course, there were also cultivators from other races. Those who could attend this gathering all had extraordinary statuses. There were cultivators from the younger generation, cultivators from the middle generation, and even cultivators from the older generation. It would appear that this gathering was not as simple as it seemed. After Lin Feng arrived, it naturally caused quite a stir. Because Lin Feng was conferred the title of Count, this matter was naturally spread like wildfire by the various major forces. Actually, given the power that Lin Feng currently wielded, it wouldn't be a problem for him to be conferred the title of Marquis. However, Lin Feng was a human cultivator. If a human cultivator was directly conferred the title of Marquis, it would cause dissatisfaction among many dragons. That was why Lin Feng was conferred the title of Earl. Because of the morning court session a few days ago, quite a few people had a verbal conflict with Lin Feng, and Lin Feng's words were full of contempt for them. Therefore, many people here looked at Lin Feng with unfriendly gazes. Lin Feng, on the other hand, looked indifferent. It wasn't that Lin Feng was arrogant, but these people together were no match for him. When the first princess saw Lin Feng, she walked towards Lin Feng. "I didn't expect so many people to come today. It seems like this gathering isn't that simple." Lin Feng looked at the first princess and said, "Of course, this gathering isn't simple. This gathering will be a small trade fair. The standards of this trade fair are extremely high, and it's said that many people will be bringing out many good things." The first princess said, "Oh, there's such a thing?" Hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This was because the cultivators gathered here were all cultivators from the various major forces of the ancient Dragon Alliance. These people were equivalent to the nobles of the dragon world. They often had many good things here. Perhaps some top-notch treasures would appear at this trade fair. It would be even better if an Immortal Sutra-level inheritance appeared. When that time came, no matter how much he had to pay, Lin Feng would be able to obtain an Immortal Sutra-level inheritance. No wonder there are so many people gathered here. I wonder if the first princess knows anything about the items being traded at this trade fair? Lin Feng asked. The first princess smiled and said, "There is indeed some news. I heard that there are even ancient weapon-level treasures being traded." Someone actually brought out a treasure of that level to trade? Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. Ancient weapon-level treasures were simply too precious. How could someone bring out a treasure of that level to trade? A supreme treasure of this level was simply priceless. The first princess said, "That ancient weapon seems to be damaged. The other party might not be able to repair it, so they brought it out to trade." "I see." Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. If it was a damaged ancient weapon, its value would be greatly reduced. After all, it was very difficult to repair ancient weapons. For example, Lin Feng actually had a damaged ancient weapon, but Lin Feng had been unable to repair it for a long time. The main reason was that the materials needed to repair it were hard to find. Furthermore, ancient weapons were refined in a special way. There were special runes on them, and it wasn't easy to study those runes. Of course, even if the ancient weapon was damaged, the power of the ancient weapon was still there for all to see. Even if it was damaged, once it was activated, it could release an unimaginable amount of power. The first princess continued, "Perhaps there are some other top-tier treasures. You'll know about them when the trade fair begins." Lin Feng nodded. "I'll bring you to meet some friends," the first princess said. "Okay," Lin Feng replied. The first princess brought Lin Feng to meet a few experts from the Dragon Clan. They were all experts of the older generation. 2 of them were at the 6th heavenly layer, 1 was at the 7th heavenly layer, and 1 was at the 8th heavenly layer. Lin Feng guessed that these experts were all experts of the Dragon Clan who supported the first princess. After chatting with the experts for a while, Lin Feng and the first princess parted ways with them. After all, they were all young people, so they naturally didn't have much in common with the older cultivators. At that moment, a man walked over. The man put on a fake smile and said, "Fourth sister, I presume this must be Count Lin Feng, the one who was recently conferred the title of Count?" The first princess nodded. "That's right. That's Count Lin." The man said, "Count Lin, you're quite fast. You're already so close to my fourth sister." However, Count Lin probably doesn't know much about the ancient Dragon Alliance. That's why I hope that Count Lin will think carefully about what kind of people he should get close to and what kind of people he should stay away from. The first princess's expression turned unsightly when she heard this. The man just smiled and left with his group. After the man left, Lin Feng asked, "Who's that?" "He's my eldest brother," the first princess said. The first princess replied. Lin Feng had heard about the first princess's brothers. It was said that they weren't very capable. The first prince was one of the more capable ones among his brothers. Even so, in terms of strength, he still couldn't compare to the first princess. However, the first prince's mother's branch was extremely powerful. That was why the first prince's status was extremely high, and he had always been hostile to the first princess. Chapter 57-27. Big clans were filthy. Who knew how many things were going on in their private lives? And the things that were happening in front of him were just one of the countless things that were happening. Lin Feng naturally didn't place the crown prince in his eyes. To Lin Feng, the crown prince was just a nobody. Lin Feng's opponent was an expert like the Dragon Emperor. If he could suppress the Dragon Emperor, then Lin Feng would have a chance to become the ruler of the ancient Dragon Alliance. 2 hours later, the small trade fair began. The trade fair was held in the main hall. Everyone was gathered here. The experts of the older generation sat on the main seats, and some extraordinary characters could also sit on the main seats. The rest of the people could only stand around. Lin Feng and the crown princess sat together. At this moment, an old man stood up and said, "Everyone, the trade fair has officially begun. I will now take out the first item to be traded. The first item I will take out is called the Tian Shuzi Spiritual Sword. The Tian Shuzi Spiritual Sword is a mother-child pair of swords. They can form a connection. When the Tian Shuzi Spiritual Sword is activated, the power of the 2 swords will be terrifying. This treasure is a saint artifact refined by a 7th heavenly layer sage. I'm sure everyone knows how valuable it is." After hearing the old man's words, the crowd burst into an uproar. Saint-level treasures were extremely valuable, and a treasure refined by a 7th heavenly layer sage was even more valuable. This treasure was simply priceless. There was no way to use immortal stones to measure its value. Probably, only top-tier treasures could be used to trade for it. At this moment, someone asked, "Senior, what do you want to trade for?" The old man said, "I need an epic magic stone." Epic magic stone? What's that? Many people were puzzled. Clearly, this was the first time they had heard of such a thing. Even Lin Feng frowned slightly. He had never heard of such a thing before. After all, there were too many treasures in the world. A person's energy was limited. Being able to understand some of the treasures in the world was already an extremely difficult task. wanting to know what all the treasures in the world were. This was obviously impossible. At this time, a cultivator said, "Epic magic stone is a special stone formed at the end of an epoch. It absorbs demonic energy and transforms. Rumor has it that epic magic stone is a material used to create ancient weapons." What? Materials used to forge ancient weapons? Many people had shocked expressions on their faces. Everyone knew how heaven-defying an ancient weapon was. Perhaps he could see some sacred artifacts now. Ancient weapons, however, were as rare as phoenix feathers and Chilean horns. As for the creation of ancient weapons, it was even more unimaginable. The ancient weapons that had been passed down were actually treasures that had been passed down from the previous era. It was not a treasure born in this era. As for the materials used to forge ancient weapons, they were also extremely rare. It was rumored that there were many top-notch experts in history who wanted to find materials to forge ancient weapons, but they couldn't find any. Then, in order to find materials for forging ancient weapons, some experts even risked their lives to cross the universe's crystal walls and travel to other universes to search for these materials. But in the end, he still ended up with nothing. From this, one could see how rare this material was. Perhaps, in an epoch, it was already quite good to have a few pieces of this material. Moreover, it must be known that these materials might not necessarily be found. They might be covered in dust in some corner. Even when the epoch was destroyed, no one had found these materials. "Does no one have this material?" the old man asked. A middle-aged cultivator stood up and said, "I don't have a pure epic magic stone, but I have an epic magic stone with a lot of impurities. If you use this epic magic stone to forge a magic treasure, you might be able to create a quasi-ancient weapon. In the future, if you have the opportunity to find other treasures and fuse them with it, you might be able to transform it into an ancient weapon." After hearing this, many people were extremely shocked. Although this cultivator's epic magic stone was not pure, he had really taken it out. They wondered how he had obtained it. Someone said, "Why didn't this cultivator forge a quasi-ancient weapon himself? This kind of treasure is much more powerful than a sacred artifact." Someone else said, "It's not that easy to forge such a high-level magic treasure. The probability of failure is very high, and there's only one set of materials. If you succeed, then it's fine, but if you don't, then the materials will be destroyed, and you won't even be able to cry to the other party." Many people nodded. It was indeed as the cultivator had said. If he succeeded, then everyone would be happy. If he failed, then wouldn't he die of regret? Therefore, even if someone obtained a few top-level materials, they wouldn't use them. They would leave them behind and wait until they participated in a top-level trade fair. Then, they would take them out and trade with others, such as this middle-aged cultivator. After obtaining the epic magic stone, he didn't forge his own magic treasure. Instead, he took out the epic magic stone to trade. The old man knew that it wasn't easy to find a pure epic magic stone. Being able to find one with impurities was already a great fortune. Thus, he nodded and said, "All right, this old man will trade with you." Then, the two of them exchanged the items. Clearly, this was a situation where everyone was happy. Next, one after another, treasures were taken out and then traded. Some of the treasures even surprised Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng didn't make a move. For the time being, there wasn't anything that could make him want to make a move. After about 30 or 40 treasures were traded, an old woman walked out. She said, "This old woman also has something that I want to trade with everyone." Someone asked, "Senior, what is it that you wish to exchange for?" Then, the old woman took out an item. It was actually an ancient scroll. When Lin Feng saw that ancient scroll, he was stupefied. He had the feeling that that ancient scroll wasn't simple at all. Chapter 57:28. The old woman replied, "This treasure of mine contains an ancient demonic scripture." "Oh, an ancient demonic scripture? What kind of demonic scripture is that?" Many people's eyes suddenly lit up. The demonic scripture that the old woman was talking about was equivalent to an immortal scripture. It was very attractive to cultivators. Lin Feng also showed great interest because Lin Feng was currently collecting immortal and demonic scriptures. However, these things were very rare and sometimes required luck. They were not something that could be found just because one wanted to. The old woman said, "This demonic scripture is called the Undying Demonic Scripture." Undying Demonic Scripture? That name sounds awesome. Could it be that it can make people immortal? Someone asked in shock. The name of this demonic scripture was too shocking. Anyone who heard this name would feel that this demonic scripture was definitely not simple. Moreover, it made people think of many things. For example, if this demonic scripture could really make a cultivator immortal, then it would be too powerful. Of course it can't make a cultivator immortal, the old woman said. After hearing the old woman's words, many people couldn't help but feel extremely disappointed. Someone asked, if it can't make a cultivator immortal, then why is it called the Undying Demonic Scripture? The old woman said, if a person's physical body dies and their soul disintegrates, then they will die completely. They won't even have a chance to reincarnate. However, my Undying Demonic Scripture has a special characteristic. If someone cultivates my Undying Demonic Scripture and dies, then their soul can be reformed in a certain place in the world. At the beginning, it might just be a remnant soul. Then, it will slowly grow stronger and recover its memories. After that, it will be equivalent to an immortal being. Someone asked, is it really that incredible? Is there really such a demonic scripture in the world? Was there a witness to this? This was also a matter that many people were incomparably curious about because this immortal and indestructible demon scripture sounded a bit too bizarre. If a person's body and soul were truly destroyed, how could a soul be born in a certain place? It was very hard to believe. The old woman said, naturally, it has been tested. Oh, Senior, are you saying that someone really did cultivate the undying and indestructible demon scripture, then died and reincarnated somewhere? The old woman said, no, I meant that the contents of the immortal and indestructible demon scripture are really at the level of an immortal scripture. As for whether or not I can really return, I can't say for sure. I'm not someone who likes to lie, so I won't lie to you. Hearing the old woman's words, many people could not help but shake their heads. Actually, there were some Immortal Sutra level legacies. Although its level was very high, its effect was very weak. For example, there were some healing-type immortal scriptures. After cultivating them, cultivators would possess powerful healing abilities and could help others heal various injuries. However, the key point was that cultivators had to face all kinds of great tribulations. Cultivators should cultivate Immortal Sutras with powerful attacks to increase their combat strength. Instead of cultivating this kind of supplementary Immortal Sutra, if you exhaust all your energy to successfully cultivate this kind of auxiliary Immortal Sutra, it will be useless in the end. Don't you think this is a waste of time? Therefore, everyone was very interested in Immortal Sutras that had powerful attack power. As for supplementary Immortal Sutras, they were much less interested. However, Lin Feng was very interested in the immortal and indestructible demon scripture. Lin Feng asked, Senior, may I know what you want to exchange this immortal and indestructible demon scripture for? The old woman looked at Lin Feng, then let out a strange cry and said, Kid, do you want to exchange it for my immortal and indestructible demon scripture? Lin Feng nodded and said, yes, I do want to exchange it, but it depends on what you want. If I don't have what you want, then I won't be able to make this exchange with you. The old woman said, I want to exchange it for an immortal medicine of immortality. Do you have it? Immortal medicines of immortality were extremely rare and precious. They were indeed very difficult to find, but Lin Feng really did have some. He had obtained 2 stalks of immortality in the past. However, he had never used them and had kept them until now. Lin Feng nodded and said, I have an immortal medicine of immortality here. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the old woman's eyes suddenly lit up. Lin Feng took out the 9 dragon fruit. Seeing Lin Feng take out the 9 dragon fruit, many people couldn't help but gasp. It really was an immortal medicine of immortality. This kid was really generous. He could even take out an immortal medicine of immortality. The old woman said, the immortal and indestructible demon scripture is yours, and your immortal medicine of immortality is mine. Lin Feng nodded, and the 2 of them made the exchange. Lin Feng checked the contents of the scroll. It was indeed a complete demonic scripture. Lin Feng immediately became very happy. Lin Feng was different from others. Others might only cultivate one or two immortal scriptures, but Lin Feng had cultivated many. Lin Feng wanted to comprehend the great Tao from various top-notch inheritances. That was why Lin Feng had been collecting top-notch inheritances all these years. Lin Feng put away the immortal and indestructible demon scripture. The trade fair continued. Top-notch treasures were taken out one after another. The trade fair was very lively. The eldest princess took action a few times and obtained several treasures. Du Zhu and the heretic diviner saint each took action. They had had many fortuitous encounters over the years. That was why they had some good things on them. They could use this trade fair to exchange for some things they needed. Not long after, someone took out an item that attracted Lin Feng's attention. It was a special kind of spirit liquid that contained extremely powerful energy. After seeing the spirit liquid, Lin Feng was extremely shocked. He felt that this spirit liquid was somewhat similar to the pet cultivation fluid he had obtained before. However, the effect seemed to be much better than pet cultivation. If it was really this type of treasure, then Lin Feng had to buy it, because Lin Feng could give it to Bibi and the others to use. Bibi and the others were already very powerful. They were roughly equivalent to the true immortal realm. Bibi and the others had many unimaginable racial abilities. That was why their methods were very terrifying. If he could let Bibi and the others reach the Sage Realm, then Bibi and the others could become a powerful helper for Lin Feng. Chapter 57-29. The middle-aged cultivator said, "This is a special spirit liquid. Although I don't know what it's called, I know its use. This spiritual liquid can be used to cultivate your pets. If your pets consume this spiritual medicine, their cultivation will increase greatly. Of course, it's not just for pets. It's also very useful for demons that haven't taken human form yet." After hearing the cultivator's words, the eyes of many could not help but light up slightly. This spiritual liquid was indeed an extremely attractive item. Suddenly, someone asked, "Brother, what do you want to exchange this spiritual liquid for?" The cultivator said, "I want to exchange this spirit liquid for a sacred treasure." "A sacred treasure? That's too much to ask." Many people shook their heads. Although the value of this spirit liquid was extraordinary, it clearly wasn't enough to exchange for a sacred treasure. Moreover, sacred treasures were so precious that they naturally couldn't take them out to exchange with this cultivator. Seeing that no one wanted to exchange with him, the cultivator shook his head slightly. At this time, Lin Feng said, "Okay, I'll exchange with you." Lin Feng then took out a sacred treasure. Lin Feng had collected several sacred treasures. Treasures of this level were basically useless to him. This was because Lin Feng was basically using ancient weapons, heaven-shaking tablets, natal treasures, and other treasures. It just so happened that he could use a sacred treasure to exchange for the spirit liquid with this cultivator. For Lin Feng, the most important thing was to help Bibi and the others quickly increase their cultivation. Lin Feng took out a sacred treasure and gave it to the cultivator. The cultivator immediately became very happy. He gave the spirit liquid to Lin Feng. Perhaps he felt that he had gained a little advantage, so he took out another item. After seeing what the cultivator took out, Lin Feng couldn't help but slightly raise his brows. The item the cultivator took out was actually a broken ancient seal. There were many mysterious runes carved on it. However, even Lin Feng didn't recognize these runes. However, Lin Feng felt that this ancient seal was extremely extraordinary. The middle-aged cultivator said, "Little brother, I won't take advantage of you. In addition to this spirit liquid, I'll give you another item. I obtained it by chance, and its origin is extremely ancient. However, I don't know what it's used for. I hope it can be of some help to you." Lin Feng didn't try to be polite and put the broken ancient seal away. He then smiled and said, "Thank you." The middle-aged cultivator smiled and nodded, then returned to his seat. "It looks like an epic rune." At that moment, the demon lord's voice suddenly resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel slightly moved. He transmitted his voice, "Demon Lord, do you recognize these runes?" The demon lord said, "It should be an epic rune, but I don't know what it means. Now that it's broken, it might not be able to display any special power." I feel that it's hiding some secrets. In the future, you can try your best to find the missing part. If you can complete it, you might be able to discover some of the secrets hidden in this item." Lin Feng nodded and put away the broken treasure. Then, all kinds of items were taken out. Lin Feng spent most of his time watching the fun. Although many of the items were valuable, Lin Feng wasn't interested in buying them. Moreover, he might not necessarily have something that others needed. Another 20 or so items were traded. At that moment, an old cultivator walked out and said, "Everyone, I also have something here that can increase your cultivation." The old man's words caused a commotion. All of a sudden, there were sounds of exclamations coming from the surroundings. Anything that could increase one's cultivation was a treasure that could make people go crazy. What exactly was this old man taking out? Then, someone impatiently asked, "Senior, what is that treasure you took out?" The old man didn't keep them in suspense and directly took out the item. Then, everyone looked at it and discovered that it was a mysterious beast egg. Everyone was extremely puzzled. Could a beast egg like that really increase their cultivation? The old man said, although it was a beast egg back then, because of the passage of time, the insides of the beast egg have been petrified. After the petrification, it fused with some special energy of the world and completed a transformation. This energy can help cultivators increase their cultivation. Lin Feng asked, "Can I take a look?" The old man nodded and handed the item over to Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed it, and a trace of joy appeared on his face. The item indeed contained a surging amount of energy, and the energy was extremely pure. It could indeed increase a cultivator's cultivation. Lin Feng returned the petrified beast egg to the old man and asked, "Senior, what do you want to trade for?" The old man said, "I want to trade for an immortal scripture. If someone is willing to take out an immortal scripture to trade with me, this petrified beast egg will be his." After hearing the old man's words, many people frowned. The petrified beast egg was indeed very precious, but no matter how precious it was, it couldn't be compared to an immortal scripture, right? After all, an immortal scripture could be used to establish a top-notch organization. Normally, I wouldn't dare to make such a request, but now that the epic is about to end, no immortal scripture or treasure can be compared to increasing one's cultivation, right? The old man said. Many people pondered the old man's words. Lin Feng took out a jade tube and said, "I'll trade with you. I'll trade with you as well. I'll trade with you as well." One after another, a few more people wanted to trade with the old man. The old man said, "Everyone, I can only choose one person to trade with." The others nodded and waited for the old man to make his choice. The old man said, "I plan to trade with the first person who offers an immortal scripture." Lin Feng smiled. Fortunately, he had made the first move, or this item would have been someone else's. The two of them made the trade. The old man carefully sensed the cultivation technique in the jade tube. Then, a smile appeared on his face. Both of them were very satisfied with the trade, and they returned to their seats. Chapter 57:30. After completing the transaction, Lin Feng didn't participate in the following transactions. Although someone took out a broken ancient weapon, it wasn't very attractive to Lin Feng. After the trade fair ended, Lin Feng and the others left together. On the way back, they parted ways with the first princess. Lin Feng and the others returned to their residence. When Lin Feng and the others returned, someone came to visit Lin Feng. It was a middle-aged cultivator. Lin Feng didn't recognize this cultivator. The middle-aged cultivator said, "Count Lin, allow me to introduce myself. I am the first prince's aide. My surname is Zhang, and my name is Chengdong. I am here on behalf of the first prince in hopes that Lin Gongzi will pledge allegiance to the first prince in the future. When the time comes, the first prince will definitely treat Lin Gongzi well." After hearing Zhang Chengdong's words, Lin Feng sneered in his heart. How dare a mere first prince try to recruit him? Even if he was here to recruit him, the first prince didn't even appear personally. He had only sent an aide. Was he looking down on Lin Feng? In the future, the Ancient Dragon Alliance would be under Lin Feng's command. Who did the first prince think he was? Lin Feng said indifferently, "Have you asked the first princess about this?" Hearing this, Zhang Qingdong knew what Lin Feng was trying to say. Zhang Qingdong's expression darkened as he said, "Count Lin, I'm sorry. The first prince sent me here to give you face. What we are discussing now has nothing to do with the first princess. I hope that Count Lin can understand this. I also hope that Count Lin can make the right choice. Because of one wrong step, there are too many things that can lead to eternal damnation. I see that Count Lin is still young and may make some mistakes, so I have to remind you here, Count Lin, don't get close to people you shouldn't get close to. When the time comes, it will only lead to disaster. Count Lin, you should understand this principle. After hearing this, Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint's expressions darkened. This guy was too full of himself. Lin Feng smiled brightly and asked, "Were you threatening me?" Zhang Qingdong said, "It was a warning. However, if Count Lin thinks that it's a threat, you can treat it as a threat." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng kicked him. Lin Feng's kick was powerful, and it landed heavily on Zhang Qingdong's body. Zhang Qingdong was sent flying more than 10 meters away. Wah! Zhang Qingdong spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned extremely pale. The guards he brought along hurriedly helped Zhang Qingdong up. "You dare to hit me?" said Zhang Qingdong while looking at Lin Feng. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He was one of the great prince's aides. He had an extremely high social status. Even some nobles had to treat him politely when they saw him. But now, Lin Feng had beaten him up. Of course, he couldn't take it lying down. Beating you is already a light punishment. Take your people and get out of here. Otherwise, I'll take your dog life today. Lin Feng said coldly. Zhang Qingdong's expression changed. He wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Feng to pieces. However, he also knew that although the cultivation levels of the guards around him were extraordinary, they were not ordinary. Compared to Lin Feng, there was still a big gap. Zhang Qingdong could only swallow his anger and say coldly, "Fine, fine, fine. We'll ride a donkey and read a book." Then, he led a dozen guards and left in a sorry state. What happened in Lin Feng's place couldn't be hidden from others. That was why Lin Feng slept soundly that night. However, many people couldn't sleep because of what had happened. For example, the first princess and the first prince. The next day, the first princess came to visit Lin Feng. However, the first princess didn't mention what had happened last night. There were some things that everyone knew, so there was no need to say. The first princess asked, "When do you plan on heading to the Broken Dragon Abyss?" Lin Feng replied, "I need to go into seclusion for a few days, but I can't give you an exact time. I'll tell you when I come out." The first princess nodded and said, "When you come out, you must inform me. I'll send you off then." "Okay." Lin Feng nodded. In fact, Lin Feng had been interacting with the first princess a lot lately. Lin Feng felt that the first princess was a very charming woman. Putting aside her strength, just her petite figure and pitiful appearance were very attractive to men. They couldn't help but want to protect her. Taking her as a concubine would be a good thing. At this moment, the first prince was having breakfast in his palace. Zhang Qingdong came to the first prince's place. "Is he here?" the first prince asked. Zhang Qingdong replied, "Your Highness, he's here." The first prince said, "Let him in." "Yes," Zhang Qingdong replied. Then, he went outside and invited a middle-aged cultivator in. The middle-aged cultivator wore a black robe and emitted an extremely cold aura. The first prince looked at the middle-aged cultivator and said, "If I'm not wrong, you're from the 9 Provinces Pavilion, right?" "That's right. I'm from the 9 Provinces Pavilion." The middle-aged man nodded. Not many people had heard of the 9 Continents Pavilion. However, anyone who had heard of the 9 Continents Pavilion would be extremely fearful of this power. The 9 Provinces Pavilion was rumored to be an extremely ancient power in the 9 Provinces Great World. Back when the 9 Provinces Great World was still at its peak, the 9 Provinces Pavilion had already taken root there. However, when the 9 Provinces Great World started to decline, the 9 Provinces Pavilion left. This was what some cultivators in this epoch knew about the 9 Provinces Pavilion. However, in reality, the 9 Provinces Pavilion had an even more extraordinary origin. The 9 Provinces Pavilion's true origin was an organization that had transcended epochs. This organization was a notorious organization of assassins. In the previous epoch, it hadn't been called the 9 Provinces Pavilion. The name of the 9 Provinces Pavilion was also changed later on. Since then, it had always been called that. As for the 9 Provinces Pavilion, no one knew what it was called in the previous epoch. Now, the first prince had invited the 9 Provinces Pavilion's manager, who was in charge of various businesses, to discuss a business deal with him. Chapter 57:31. The first prince had been scrutinizing the middle-aged cultivator. The middle-aged cultivator had an indifferent expression on his face. He did not fear the first prince at all, as the 9 Provinces Pavilion was indeed a terrifying power. Although he was only a deacon of the 9 Provinces Pavilion stationed in the Dragon Realm, his background was not to be underestimated. However, his identity was also not simple. He had the support of the 9 Provinces Pavilion. Naturally, he had nothing to fear. The first prince said, "It's like this. I would like to ask you to kill someone." The middle-aged cultivator replied, "No problem, but the price will depend on the person's identity." The first prince nodded and said, "Do you know that our ancient dragon alliance has recently crowned an earl?" The middle-aged cultivator replied, "I've heard of this matter. I think it's someone called Linfeng." The first prince said, "That's right. How much will it cost to kill him?" The middle-aged cultivator replied, "It'll cost 100 million high-grade immortal stones." Even with the first prince's status, he could not help but be shocked when he heard this price. 100 million high-grade immortal stones was simply too high. He felt that the middle-aged cultivator was asking for too much. The first prince could not help but frown and say, "Isn't this price a little too excessive?" The middle-aged cultivator replied, "This price is not excessive at all. This Linfeng is not a simple person, and we will be taking a huge risk to deal with someone like him. However, the risk is proportional to the reward. Since our risk is so high, the price will naturally be higher. If the first prince trusts us, then we can make this deal. If the first prince does not trust us, then this deal cannot continue." The first prince frowned slightly and said, "Fine, then let's make a deal. I hope that you can quickly deliver his head to the first princess. When the time comes, I want everyone to know the consequences of opposing me." The middle-aged cultivator said, "Sorry, but we don't have such a business. After we kill someone, we can bring the head back to you. However you want to deal with it, it has nothing to do with us." The first prince nodded and said, "All right, such a small matter does not matter." Linfeng naturally didn't know that the first prince had hired assassins from the 9 States Pavilion to assassinate him. At this moment, Linfeng was in seclusion. He planned to refine the petrified beast egg before leaving and see how much his cultivation could increase. Linfeng sat cross-legged, and the petrified beast egg floated in front of him. Powerful energy gushed out from the egg in an unending stream. This energy was indeed very special. When Linfeng absorbed the energy, he clearly felt that the spiritual power in his body had become purer, and more spiritual power was constantly being produced. These were all signs that one's cultivation base had improved. Linfeng was actually looking forward to this treasure. He didn't know if it could help him break through his cultivation. Even if it could help him break through a realm, Linfeng would be satisfied. After all, it was indeed very difficult for him to break through. After spending a day, Linfeng devoured all the energy. After a day, Linfeng's cultivation base finally broke through. He had broken through from the 2nd heavenly layer to the 3rd heavenly layer of the Saint Immortal Realm. Linfeng discovered that there was still a large amount of energy that had not been consumed. Linfeng continued to refine the energy. When all the energy was refined by Linfeng, Linfeng's cultivation base had broken through to the 4th heavenly layer of the Saint Immortal Realm. Linfeng was extremely happy. He had actually broken through 2 realms in one go. This was even more ideal than he had expected. Previously, Linfeng felt that breaking through one realm was already quite good. However, reality gave Linfeng quite a pleasant surprise. Since Linfeng had not entered the Divine Tao Immortal Palace after breaking through to the Saint Immortal Realm, he wanted to take this opportunity to enter and see what was inside. This was also the last hall of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Linfeng guessed that the things inside would be extraordinary. After Linfeng entered, he immediately discovered a mysterious stone coffin in the last hall of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. The stone coffin was densely covered with ancient runes. When Linfeng saw the stone coffin, He could not help but frown slightly. The stone coffin was sealed. He walked up to the stone coffin and carefully observed it. He could not help but mutter in his heart, "Is there something unclean in the stone coffin?" Lin Feng decided to open the stone coffin. Since there were many stone nails nailed to the stone coffin, Lin Feng pried them off one by one. When the last stone nail was pried off by Lin Feng, a terrifying aura surged out of the stone coffin. The aura sent Lin Feng flying. Bang! 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 At this moment, a series of violent collisions sounded. It seemed like something inside the stone coffin was hitting the lid of the stone coffin. That thing wanted to rush out of the stone coffin. At this moment, many of the runes on the stone coffin connected with the runes on the lid of the stone coffin, temporarily blocking the other party's attack. Otherwise, that thing might have already rushed out. However, those runes would not be able to hold on for long. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and quickly rushed over. Then, he nailed the stone nails back onto the stone coffin one after another. When all the stone nails were nailed, the stone coffin returned to normal. Lin Feng was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. The situation just now was too frightening. Lin Feng could not help but break out in a cold sweat. What exactly was that thing? Lin Feng could not help but frown. Since that thing could hit the stone coffin, it meant that it should still be alive, right? After so many years, it had been sealed in the stone coffin. Could it be that it still had not died? This was too strange. It was too unbelievable. But all of this was what he had experienced. All of this was real. What do you think could be inside the stone coffin? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord frowned slightly and said, "This is really hard to say. Just now, I felt that the aura inside was too evil. But as for what exactly it is, we can only find out after we open it. However, it's better not to open the stone coffin for now. If there's a chance in the future, we can open the stone coffin and see what's inside." Lin Feng nodded. The thing inside was too scary. He did not dare to open it now. He could only think about it when he was stronger in the future. Chapter 5732. The next day, Lin Feng set off for Broken Dragon Abyss. Before he set off, Lin Feng had already asked someone to inform the eldest princess that he was about to set off. Therefore, the eldest princess came early in the morning to send Lin Feng to the teleportation square. Lin Feng boarded the eldest princess's beast carriage. Du Zhu and the evil dominator Saint rode their beasts and followed behind. Lin Feng and the eldest princess sat in the beast carriage and talked. The eldest princess said, "The eldest prince is ruthless and extremely narrow-minded. Therefore, I suspect that the eldest prince may not let this matter rest. This journey may not be particularly peaceful. Young master, you must be careful." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Princess, you don't have to worry about this at all." Hearing Lin Feng's words, the eldest princess was relieved. She knew that Lin Feng was not a simple person. There were some things that Lin Feng knew how to deal with. Lin Feng arrived at the teleportation square of Ancient Dragon City. Then, they took the teleportation array of Ancient Dragon City to Broken Dragon City. Broken Dragon City was also in the Ancient Dragon Alliance. Moreover, it was not particularly far from Broken Dragon Abyss. Therefore, Lin Feng and the others planned to go to Broken Dragon City first. After arriving at Broken Dragon City, they would go from Broken Dragon City to Broken Dragon Abyss. Lin Feng and the others entered the teleportation array. The teleportation array activated and sent Lin Feng and the others into the space-time tunnel. For more than a month, Lin Feng and the others had been in the space-time tunnel. It took them a month and a half to leave the space-time tunnel and arrive at Broken Dragon City. The teleportation square of Broken Dragon City was bustling with people coming and going. Lin Feng and the others planned to rest for a few days and then inquire about the specific situation at Broken Dragon Abyss. After all, they did not know much about Broken Dragon Abyss. This place was so dangerous, so they naturally needed to understand it well and then see the specific situation. If they went there rashly, they might fall into an extremely dangerous situation. Lin Feng and the others were very clear about this. The three entered the ancient city. He looked for a place to rest. At this moment, a 15 or 16-year-old girl ran over from the distance. She looked behind her as she ran, and at this moment, a few cultivators quickly caught up. The young girl had a panicked expression on her face. When the girl turned around, she accidentally bumped into Lin Feng and sat on the ground. When she wanted to get up and run again, several cultivators had already caught up and surrounded the girl. The cultivators who chased after her looked at the young girl with a ferocious look. The cultivator in the lead scolded, "Little b****, do you think you can run away? Hurry up and come with us." After saying that, he reached out to grab the girl. Many people around them were pointing and whispering. The girl's eyes were filled with fear and helplessness. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Although Lin Feng was not a compassionate person, seeing such a delicate young girl being chased by several fiendish people, he couldn't help but feel moved. Naturally, he couldn't help but feel compassion. Lin Feng couldn't help but shout in a low voice, "What's going on? Why are you chasing her?" Seeing that Lin Feng was protecting her, the girl seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw and said, "Big brother, I don't know them." The cultivator in the lead saw that Lin Feng was not an ordinary person. He didn't dare to be too presumptuous and said, "Young master, don't listen to this little b****'s nonsense. Someone sold this little b****tch to the heavenly fragrance court." The girl hurriedly said, "Big brother, he's lying. I was just passing by the heavenly fragrance court when I was looking for a doctor. They wanted to catch me. Big brother, please save me." Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. Lin Feng could roughly guess that this so-called heavenly fragrance court was a brothel. If this girl had been sold to them, Lin Feng wouldn't have cared about it. After all, there were too many things like this, and he didn't have the energy to care about them. However, it seemed that this wasn't the case. These people probably saw that this girl was pretty and came from a poor background, so they wanted to catch her and train her. The cultivator in the lead said, "Young master, don't believe her words. She's not telling the truth." Lin Feng said, "I think you people are the ones who aren't telling the truth. You actually dare to force a girl into prostitution in broad daylight? Who gave you the guts to do so? Now, get lost as far as you can." Hearing Lin Feng's words, the cultivators' faces became extremely ugly. The cultivator in the lead said, "Young master, you might not know the background of the heavenly fragrance court. Our heavenly fragrance court is connected to the heavens. Young master should be an outsider, right? If young master is an outsider, then we advise young master not to meddle in other people's business. There are some things that young master can't meddle in. Moreover, young master should remember this saying. A strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its old haunts." It was obvious that this heavenly fragrance court had some background. Moreover, these people seemed to be very confident. If it were anyone else, they would probably not dare to meddle in this matter. However, to Lin Feng, this heavenly fragrance court did not have any deterrence. Since Lin Feng decided to meddle in this matter, Lin Feng would do it to the end. Lin Feng did not waste any more words with these people. He waved his sleeve. Suddenly, a powerful force surged out. Bang! A ferocious sound of collision rang out and several of the cultivators were sent flying. They fell to the ground, their faces extremely pale. They naturally felt that Lin Feng was not to be trifled with. Therefore, they did not dare to stay and quickly left. After seeing those people leave, the girl revealed an expression of relief. Then, she looked at Lin Feng and was about to kneel on the ground and kowtow to Lin Feng to thank him. Lin Feng hurriedly supported her and said, "There's no need to be so polite." The girl said pitifully, "Big brother, I beg you, please help me. My grandfather is about to die. Big brother, please save my grandfather." Lin Feng was surprised and immediately said, "Take us to have a look." The girl quickly nodded and then led Lin Feng and the others to the front. They came to a dilapidated courtyard in the northwest corner. This was obviously the slum of Broken Dragon City. The girl opened the door and led Lin Feng and the others into the room. Lin Feng saw a thin old man lying on the bed. What shocked Lin Feng was that the old man's body was actually emitting the power of divinity and devil. Demonic seed. The old man was actually demonic. Chapter 57:33. Any cultivator who was qualified to be planted with a devil was a famous figure. They definitely had a glorious and dazzling life. But who was this old man? Lin Feng didn't know who the old man was, but he definitely had an extraordinary background. Perhaps the young girl didn't know about her grandfather's glorious past? Lin Feng looked at the young girl and asked, "You're not his biological granddaughter, are you?" Of course, Lin Feng was a bit more direct, but that was also Lin Feng's personality. He didn't like to beat around the bush. The young girl didn't feel embarrassed at all. She said, "I heard from my grandfather that he picked me up when I was very young." The young girl looked pitifully at Lin Feng and asked, "Big brother, I found many doctors, but they couldn't save my grandfather. Can you save him?" Lin Feng said, "I'll try my best. Go outside and wait for my news." Lin Feng gave Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint a look. Then, Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint brought the young girl outside. The poison ancestor closed the door behind him as he left. Lin Feng frowned as he looked at the old man. Planting a devil was an extremely complicated situation. Even Lin Feng couldn't explain it. Because his father had been planted with a devil, Lin Feng was very concerned about it. Now, he had a chance to observe the situation of a cultivator who had been planted with a devil up close. Lin Feng tried to probe with his divine sense, but something terrifying happened. When Lin Feng's divine sense came into contact with the old man, his divine sense was instantly devoured by the old man's body. Lin Feng couldn't help but be extremely shocked. The old man's ability was terrifying. He was still unconscious and hadn't used any divine ability, but his divine sense was already devoured. This was enough to show how powerful the old man had been back then. But thinking about it, if the culprit wasn't strong enough, the culprit wouldn't have used the demonic seed technique. It should be known that even the culprit couldn't use the demonic seed technique casually because the culprit had to pay a high price to use it. Lin Feng was quite clear about this. Lin Feng was a little worried that his divine sense couldn't penetrate the old man's body. What should he do next? "Demon Lord, do you have any ideas?" asked Lin Feng telepathically. The Demon Lord thought for a moment and said, "Use some seals to seal the old man. Then, try again." Lin Feng nodded. He released many sealing talismans and used them to seal the old man. Lin Feng hoped that these sealing runes would be effective. When the numerous sealing runes imprinted themselves on the old man's body, the divine and demonic energies in the old man's body began to weaken. It seemed that Lin Feng's sealing runes were working. After seeing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. This method seemed to be very effective. Lin Feng then tried to sense the old man's body. Lin Feng's divine sense flew towards the old man again. This time, although the old man's body was still trying to devour Lin Feng's divine sense, he didn't succeed this time. Lin Feng's divine sense entered the old man's body. Who dares to pry into the secrets of the heavens? At that moment, a cold voice echoed in Lin Feng's mind. This voice contained demonic energy. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Was the devil planting technique so strange? It could actually form demonic thoughts? The powerful demonic energy rushed towards Lin Feng, instantly devouring Lin Feng's divine sense. What was even more frightening was that the demonic energy was eating away at the divine energy in the old man's body. There wasn't much divine energy left in the old man's body now. Lin Feng guessed. When the divine energy in the old man's body was completely eaten away, the old man would be completely lost. When that time came, he would be completely controlled by the other party. This was an extremely frightening thing. Lin Feng looked more and more solemn. Things were going to get really bad for them. Lin Feng was also a little anxious. He didn't know how to help the old man suppress the demonic energy in the old man's body. At that moment, the world tree in Lin Feng's dantian trembled slightly. Feeling the trembling of the world tree, Lin Feng's face suddenly revealed an extremely shocked expression. At this moment, the world tree was acting strangely. Was it related to the demonic energy? Lin Feng wasn't particularly clear about this. However, Lin Feng felt that the world tree might really be trembling because of the demonic energy. The world tree was one of the most mysterious ancient trees in the Nine States world. It was incomparably terrifying in the past. Although the world tree was destroyed, the sapling of the world tree had now been cultivated by Lin Feng. As the world tree continued to grow, it would also reveal more extraordinary aspects of the world tree. Therefore, If the world tree could really suppress the demonic energy, Lin Feng wouldn't be surprised. Therefore, Lin Feng tried to use the world tree to devour the demonic energy in the old man's body. The demonic energy quickly surged out of the old man's body, and all of it poured into Lin Feng's body. Then, it was devoured by the world tree. It really works? Lin Feng's face suddenly revealed an extremely surprised expression. If the world tree could really devour the demonic energy, he could also use this method to help his father dissolve the demonic energy. However, Lin Feng's expression quickly became unsightly. This was because the demonic energy that was being devoured by the world tree quickly broke through the shackles of the world tree and quickly rushed into his mind. The demonic energy seemed to want to occupy Lin Feng's mind and enslave Lin Feng's soul. A sinister voice came from the demonic energy. Lowly ant, who do you think you are? You actually want to dissolve the demonic energy? Now, you will become my slave. As soon as the voice fell, the demonic energy poured into Lin Feng's mind and began to attack Lin Feng's soul. However, at this time, Lin Feng's soul had already hidden in the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp. Then, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp emitted rays of holy light. The holy light bombarded the demonic energy that was pouring into Lin Feng's mind. Chapter 57:34. Bang! Along with the violent sound of collision, holy light and demonic power bombarded each other. However, the holy light was shattered, unable to destroy the demonic energy. The demonic power was too terrifying. A sinister laugh came from the demonic power. It's useless. No matter how you resist or struggle, you won't be able to escape. Today, you will be enslaved by me. Obviously, the demonic energy was very confident in its own strength. At that moment, the demonic energy had already wrapped Lin Feng's Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp. It wanted to break through the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp's defense. Lin Feng's expression became extremely unsightly. The demonic energy was really terrifying, as expected of the demonic energy produced by the demonic seed technique. The demonic energy made Lin Feng's hair stand on end. The current situation was somewhat troublesome. How should he deal with this demonic energy? Lin Feng thought of many methods, but they were all rejected by Lin Feng. It was too difficult to deal with this demonic energy. Right, maybe I can use the sky-shaking stone tablets to deal with this demonic energy? Lin Feng couldn't help but think of his own sky-shaking stone tablets, and his eyes lit up. The sky-shaking stone tablets were naturally powerful, and Lin Feng already had 4 of them. These sky-shaking stone tablets formed a yin and yang cycle, and their power was terrifying. After thinking about it, Lin Feng quickly summoned the sky-shaking stone tablets. They flew into Lin Feng's mind, and then directly bombarded the demonic energy. You actually have 4 sky-shaking stone tablets? The demonic energy shouted in disbelief. It was no wonder that it was so shocked. After all, after collecting all 18 sky-shaking stone tablets, some of the secrets contained in them were comparable to the secrets of the Supreme Celestial Court and the Door of Everlasting Life. Therefore, the value of the sky-shaking stone tablets was unimaginable. Moreover, the sky-shaking stone tablets had incredible offensive power. At that moment, the demonic energy surged wildly. Then, it bombarded the sky-shaking stone tablets. Bang, 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 bang. The 2 sides collided fiercely. After dozens of collisions, no one could do anything to the other. At this time, Lin Feng summoned the 8 types of heavenly flames. The 8 types of heavenly flames worked together with the heaven-shaking stone steel to deal with this kind of demonic power. The might of the heavenly flames was also quite strong, and the heavenly flames itself could restrain all kinds of dark attribute power. This kind of demonic power naturally belonged to the dark attribute. Perhaps because this kind of demonic power was too strong, it was very difficult to deal with this kind of demonic power. However, when the heaven-shaking stone steel and the 8 heavenly flames were combined together, the heavenly flames were completely destroyed. The power of this demonic nature was also constantly weakening. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's face revealed a smile. Following this, Lin Feng started to chant the Great Fate Skills incantation. Grand Tao of Fate, please descend with Fate's power. I will use Fate's power to destroy this demonic power and restore justice to the world. After Lin Feng's voice fell, the powerful Fate's power surged, and the Fate's power ruthlessly bombarded the demonic power. After being attacked by the heaven-shaking stone tablets, the 8 heavenly flames, and the Fate's power, the demonic power finally couldn't withstand it. Bang! Accompanied by a violent explosion, the demonic power of the demonic power was destroyed. The demonic power directly collapsed. Originally, Lin Feng wanted to completely destroy this demonic power. However, at this moment, the dark energy quickly surged out. Lin Feng wanted to stop this dark energy. However, this demonic power was too strange. Lin Feng couldn't stop this demonic power. In the end, all the demonic power entered the old man's body. Lin Feng frowned. How could the demonic power produced by the demonic seed technique be so strange? It was much stranger than he had imagined. Lin Feng planned to use the heaven-shaking stone tablets to suppress the demonic power in the old man's body. Lin Feng summoned the heaven-shaking stone tablets. Then, the 4 heaven-shaking stone tablets flew toward the old man. Then, the 4 heaven-shaking stone tablets quickly entered the old man's body. After the 4 heaven-shaking stone tablets entered the old man's body, the demonic power quickly fused with the old man's acupuncture points and hid there. Now, the demonic power was hidden. It was extremely unrealistic to want to destroy this demonic power. At most, it could only temporarily suppress it. However, as the demonic power was hidden, the divinity in the old man's body began to grow stronger. Lin Feng put away the heaven-shaking stone tablets. At this moment, the old man opened his eyes. When he saw Lin Feng, he was somewhat surprised and puzzled. However, he was very calm. After all, he was too strong. No matter what kind of situation he faced, he was able to remain calm. Lin Feng said, "Senior, seeing that you've woken up, this junior is finally at ease. Did you help me suppress the demonic power in my body?" The old man asked. Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's right. This junior helped you suppress the demonic power in your body. This demonic power is really strange. Just now, even I almost fell for it." The old man stood up and sighed. "I originally thought that I would not be able to escape this calamity. I didn't expect that I would be so lucky to escape with my life. I really have to thank you, young friend." Lin Feng said, "Senior, you're too polite." After pausing for a moment, Lin Feng continued, "However, the demonic power in your body has only been temporarily suppressed. This junior is unable to help you truly dispel this demonic power." The old man said, "Dispelling this demonic power is too difficult. I've been looking for a way to dispel this demonic power my entire life, but I still haven't been able to find a way. Perhaps I'll have to go to the mastermind's world to find a way." Lin Feng nodded solemnly. He thought of his father, Lin Beitian. Lin Feng was very worried that his father would be like the old man and almost be completely controlled by the demonic power. At that time, he would lose himself. Moreover, once he lost himself, it was very likely that he would not be able to recover. Thus, if he wanted to dispel the demonic seed technique, he had to do it before he lost himself. Otherwise, it would be too late. Lin Feng looked at the old man. He was very curious about this old man's identity. He did not know who this old man was for him to have been planted with a demonic seed by an expert from the mastermind's world. Thus, Lin Feng asked, "Senior, may I ask how I should address you?" The old man replied, "I'm the 7th thick earth god, ancient god Xian Su. M." Chapter 57:35. After hearing the old man's introduction, Lin Feng was quite surprised. The old man's identity wasn't simple. He was actually the god of thick earth. The god of thick earth was one of the 5 godly kings. He was an overgod and was one of the strongest titled gods in the era of titled gods. Therefore, the old man was definitely a terrifying figure. It was no wonder that the creatures of the mastermind's world had used the demonic seed technique on the old man. An expert of his level was indeed qualified to make the creatures of the mastermind's world use the demonic seed technique on him. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, "Excuse me, I didn't expect you to be the god of thick earth. What happened back then? Why were you implanted with the demonic seed technique?" The old man said, "Actually, it's quite a bumpy story. Back then, a group of us went to the mastermind's world and wanted to join forces to eliminate the ruler of the mastermind's world. After losing a lot of people, we thought we would succeed. But who knew that the ruler of the mastermind's world was an immortal existence? Then, we suffered heavy losses and the survivors fled. In the process, I was implanted with the demonic seed technique. After a long time, I've been looking for a way to dispel the demonic seed technique, but I haven't been able to find a way. After hearing the old man's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel deep respect for the old man. He hadn't thought that such a thing would happen back then. Lin Feng was full of respect for a senior who was willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. After all, this kind of thing was easy to say, but it was really too difficult to do. Lin Feng asked, "Is the ruler of the mastermind's world really immortal? As far as I know, even the members of the immortal clan can't be immortal, right?" The old man sighed and said, "Because the ruler of the mastermind's world can be resurrected after being killed. This ability is indeed very similar to an undying and indestructible ability. Even if it's not truly undying and indestructible, I feel that it's not much different from an undying and indestructible ability. That's why it's very difficult to kill him. Maybe that's why so many strong cultivators have tried to kill him but failed. Maybe his cultivation level isn't the strongest, but he's almost immortal. Nobody can compare to him. As long as he has this ability, he can defeat and kill any strong cultivator." Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. Forget about other epics, let's talk about this one. Indeed, there were many experts who had fallen while fighting against the masters of the mastermind's world, such as his ancestor, Ji Zishu. Back then, he had almost killed the ruler of the mastermind's world, but the ruler of the mastermind's world had an almost immortal ability. He could be resurrected after death, and in the end, it was his ancestor, Ji Zishu, who had suffered a calamity. This kind of thing had happened more than once. For example, the old man and a group of ancient titled gods had joined forces to deal with the ruler of the mastermind's world, but in the end, they had suffered a calamity. Many people had died too miserably. Is there really no way to kill the ruler of the mastermind's world in this world? Lin Feng asked. The old man thought for a moment and said, "Maybe there is a way, but I don't know what it is for now. However, I believe that someone will be able to find a way." Actually, when the old man said that, he sounded very uncertain. After all, no one had been able to find a way to kill the ruler of the mastermind's world. Could the cultivators of their epic find a way? If they could find a way, they might be able to prevent this epic-ending war. If they couldn't find a way, who knew how many people would die in this calamity? Lin Feng's mood was very heavy. "By the way, young friend, I want to show you something." "What is it?" Lin Feng couldn't help but feel curious. The old man waved his hand, and something flew out. Lin Feng discovered that it was a stone statue. The stone statue looked very ordinary, like a very ordinary stone sculpture. Lin Feng sensed it, but he couldn't find anything special about it. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel puzzled. He didn't know why the old man had taken out such an ordinary-looking stone statue. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, is there something special about this stone statue?" The old man said, "Don't underestimate this stone statue. Back then, when we entered the mastermind's world, we found this stone statue in the depths of the world. This stone statue was suppressed in the depths of the mastermind's world." "What? It was suppressed in the depths of the mastermind's world?" Lin Feng couldn't believe it. What kind of stone statue was qualified to be suppressed in the depths of the mastermind's world? This stone statue was clearly extraordinary. Lin Feng looked at the stone statue again, but it was the same as before. Lin Feng felt that this stone statue was still very ordinary. Perhaps it had returned to its original state? Was that why he couldn't find any clues? Lin Feng looked at the old man and asked, "Senior, have you discovered the secret of this stone statue?" The old man shook his head and said, "I haven't discovered any secret of this stone statue, but I believe that this stone statue is absolutely extraordinary. However, my body's condition is a little bad right now. I don't know when I'll lose myself, so I plan to give this stone statue to you, young friend. I have a feeling that this statue is extremely important to us. If you can have it, that would be the best," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng's heart was heavy. He naturally didn't want this old man to suffer such a tragic fate, but there were some things that he couldn't control. He couldn't help but sigh and say, "I'll take good care of this stone statue and explore its secrets." "That's good," the old man said. Then, he handed the stone statue to Lin Feng. Lin Feng put the stone statue away for now. Then, the old man said, "Let's go out and take a look." "All right." Lin Feng nodded. Following this, they went outside. Seeing that the old man had woken up, the girl was very excited. She quickly ran to the old man's side and grabbed his withered arm, saying, "Grandpa, you're finally awake." Ting Ting was so worried. "Don't worry, little girl. Grandpa is fine now," the old man comforted the girl. At that moment, a large group of people rushed in from outside. They directly kicked down the courtyard's door and fused into the courtyard. Chapter 5736. The courtyard wasn't particularly big to begin with, so with so many people suddenly rushing in, it suddenly became a little crowded. The people who entered the courtyard all had fierce looks on their faces as they coldly looked at Lin Feng and the others in the courtyard. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. This was because he saw the cultivators from the Heavenly Fragrance Court who were chasing the young girl. Obviously, they were very dissatisfied with the fact that Lin Feng had taken the young girl away, so they chased after him all the way here. It was no wonder that they would do this. These people had a very deep background in Broken Dragon City, so they didn't care about what they did. However, Lin Feng made them suffer a loss, so they naturally wouldn't let it go. Of course. In addition, there was another very important point. Although the young girl was still young, she had already grown into a slender and elegant woman with a very beautiful face. In a few years, when the young girl's body completely matured, who knew how much money she could make for the Heavenly Fragrance Court? Naturally, the Heavenly Fragrance Court wouldn't let the young girl go so easily. Therefore, these people from the Heavenly Fragrance Court came here. After seeing these people, the young girl was extremely afraid. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "Big brother, these bad people are here again. What should we do?" Lin Feng said, "Don't worry, Big brother is here." "Kid, who do you think you are? How dare you interfere in the matters of our Heavenly Fragrance Court?" At this time, a cultivator in his 30s looked coldly at Lin Feng. The leader of this group was this cultivator. This cultivator was dressed in luxurious clothes and had a deep aura. Lin Feng also noticed that the blood of the dragon race flowed in his body, which meant that this cultivator should be from the dragon race. However, Lin Feng didn't know which branch of the dragon race he belonged to. It seemed that the Heavenly Fragrance Court had some relationship with the dragon race. No wonder the cultivator from before said that the Heavenly Fragrance Court was connected to the sky. However, Lin Feng didn't care who the other party was. Daring to be so presumptuous in front of him, they were really reckless. Lin Feng said, "Kill him?" "Yes, young master." The evil dominator saint replied and quickly flew towards the dragon clan cultivator. "You are courting death. Tear him to pieces," the dragon race cultivator said coldly. A powerful cultivator beside him summoned his own Dharma treasure. Then, the Dharma treasure that was emitting powerful waves of energy charged towards the evil dominator saint. That magic treasure contained an extremely terrifying power. When it struck the evil dominator saint, it actually produced a clanging sound. It was as if it had struck the hardest metal. It couldn't do any harm to the evil dominator saint at all. The evil dominator saint had already forged his body into a powerful magical treasure. His body was very terrifying, and his body was not the same as Lin Feng's. Although Lin Feng's physical defense was extremely strong, Lin Feng mainly cultivated his physical strength. Lin Feng's physical strength was extremely terrifying. On the other hand, the evil dominator saint's body focused on defense. Therefore, ordinary treasures couldn't break the evil dominator saint's defense at all. This was also the main reason why Duzu couldn't defeat the evil dominator saint. After the evil dominator saint blocked the Dharma treasure's attack, he quickly arrived in front of the dragon race cultivator. He directly grabbed the dragon race cultivator's neck and lifted him up. The dragon clan cultivator's pupils contracted violently. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. He was subdued in an instant under the watchful eyes of the crowd. and the one who did it seemed to be just a servant. It wasn't until now that he realized that he might have kicked an iron plate. But after thinking about his identity as a dragon race cultivator, he calmed down a lot and said, "This is Broken Dragon City, the territory of the Broken Dragon race. I'm a cultivator of the Broken Dragon race. If you dare to kill me, you won't have a good ending. Let me go now, and I can consider sparing your lives." After all, Broken Dragon City was the territory of the Broken Dragon race. Therefore, he felt that Lin Feng wouldn't dare to kill him. If he did, he would completely offend the Broken Dragon race. This was a loss that outweighed the gains. That was why he dared to threaten Lin Feng. But in the face of his threat, Lin Feng sneered and didn't even bother to pay attention to him. The evil dominator saint revealed a sinister smile. His wrist suddenly exerted force, and with a crack, the dragon race cultivator's neck was immediately broken by the evil dominator saint. The dragon race cultivator's eyes bulged out. He died with grievances. Even when he died, he still couldn't believe that he had been killed just like that. The evil dominator saint directly threw the dragon race cultivator's corpse on the ground. At this time, the other cultivators reacted. After seeing that the dragon clan cultivator was killed, their faces became extremely ugly. "Catch these people," a cultivator said in a deep voice. Next, everyone attacked. Some people surrounded the evil dominator saint. Some people rushed towards Lin Feng and the others. They wanted to deal with Lin Feng and the others. At this time, Duzu couldn't hold back and rushed out. He was a person who liked to fight. When he saw such a big battle, he naturally couldn't stay idle. After Duzu joined the battle, these people were even more unbearable. It didn't take long for them to be killed by Duzu and the evil dominator. There were some people outside who were watching the show. When they saw the situation here, their faces couldn't help but change. They originally thought that the people inside were definitely going to be in big trouble. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? The old man still didn't know what had happened before. Thus, he asked, "What's wrong with these people?" Thus, Lin Feng told the old man what had happened. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the old man's face became extremely gloomy. These people actually dared to bully his granddaughter. Fortunately, they met Lin Feng. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The old man was, of course, extremely angry. The old man said angrily, "Good, good, good. It's true that kind people get bullied. How can I take this lying down?" Lin Feng looked at the old man and asked, "Senior, how do you plan to deal with this matter?" The old man said, "They have to pay the price in blood." Lin Feng could feel the terrifying killing intent emanating from the old man's body. The old man waved his hand. Powerful magic power surged out and wrapped around everyone. Then, he quickly flew in the direction of the heavenly fragrance court. Chapter 57:37. The girl had always thought that her grandfather was just an ordinary person. When she saw her grandfather bring everyone to the heavenly fragrance court, she was extremely shocked. Her face was full of disbelief. Perhaps everything that was happening right now was subversive to her. However, she immediately became excited because her grandfather was actually so powerful. Of course, this was something that made her feel quite happy and honored. "Girl, do you still remember that when you were 6 years old, your grandfather taught you how to meditate?" The old man asked the girl. Of course, the girl remembered. Since she was 6 years old, she had been meditating for 6 hours every day. Of course, she didn't just meditate, because her grandfather had also taught her some special techniques to circulate her qi. In the beginning, her grandfather had only told her about a kind of qi cultivation technique that could improve the quality of one's body. Until now, she had been cultivating for about 8 or 9 years now. The girl said, "Of course I remember. Now, I meditate for 6 hours every day, and I've never stopped." The old man said, "When you've cultivated your qi for 10 years, your grandfather will teach you some supreme divine techniques. At that time, you can also be like your grandfather, flying in the sky and burrowing into the ground." After hearing the old man's words, the girl's eyes suddenly brightened. Of course, she was very much looking forward to having such a powerful divine ability. She asked, "Can I really be that powerful?" The old man nodded and said, "Of course you can. The girl became extremely happy. Lin Feng watched the conversation between the grandfather and granddaughter from the side and couldn't help but smile. This kind of scene was really quite heartwarming. Not long after, the group arrived at the Heavenly Fragrance Court. The Heavenly Fragrance Court was the most prosperous brothel in Broken Dragon City. Every day, people came and went, and it was very lively. A place like this was a place to hide filth. Who knew how many filthy things happened there every day? Things like forcing women into prostitution happened every day in the Heavenly Fragrance Court. However, to be honest, this kind of thing happened in every brothel. However, it was relatively rare for people to do such things in broad daylight. After all, they had to take care of their own reputation. The Heavenly Fragrance Court didn't seem to care. He did not care about his reputation at all. Unrelated people, quickly leave the Heavenly Fragrance Court. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy. The old man stood above the Heavenly Fragrance Court as his cold voice abruptly rang out. The Heavenly Fragrance Court was originally filled with an extremely charming atmosphere. After hearing the old man's voice, many people were almost scared to death. Then, many people began to put on their clothes while cursing. Many people went outside. One of the cultivators scolded angrily, "Old bastard, what are you shouting for? You're disturbing my business. Do you believe that I won't kill you?" Just as the cultivator finished speaking, the old man struck out with his palm across the void. With a bang, the cultivator's body exploded and he died on the spot. That cultivator's name is Wang Zhongtian, an expert at the true immortal stage. To think that he would be killed by a single palm strike from that old man. Just what level is that old man at? Someone recognized the identity of the dead cultivator. When that cultivator's identity was revealed, it instantly caused a huge uproar. After all, that cultivator's identity was too extraordinary. He was an expert at the true immortal stage, yet he was killed by a single palm strike from that old man. It was truly too shocking. Instantly, the surrounding people began to vent their anger. Everyone was discussing the old man's identity. The old man spoke again. "Unrelated people, why aren't you getting out of the Heavenly Fragrance Court? How could anyone dare to hesitate?" Everyone fled outside. Including the prostitutes, they all fled the Heavenly Fragrance Court. Over 100 experts stationed in the Heavenly Fragrance Court appeared. Their leader was a woman. She looked to be in her 30s. Her figure was voluptuous and charming, and her face was extremely beautiful. The woman's expression was somewhat ugly. Someone actually dared to cause trouble in the Heavenly Fragrance Court. This was a rather rare occurrence. Although the woman was furious, she did not dare to be too presumptuous at this moment. After all, the person who attacked her was indeed very powerful. The woman said, "Senior, my Heavenly Fragrance Court has not offended you, right? Why are you targeting my Heavenly Fragrance Court?" Although my Heavenly Fragrance Court is just a brothel, we still have some background. Regarding today's matter, if you cannot give me a satisfactory answer, my Heavenly Fragrance Court will definitely not let this matter rest. After hearing the woman's threat, the old man immediately revealed a cold smile. "You people from the Heavenly Fragrance Court actually dare to capture my granddaughter? You're even asking me why I'm here?" The old man said coldly. The woman's expression suddenly changed. Their Heavenly Fragrance Court would indeed do such a thing. However, the targets they chose were all women of ordinary birth. Even if they captured them, what could their families do when they found out? She choked on her words. WWW. Because they were of ordinary birth, they did not have the ability to resist the Heavenly Fragrance Court. Sometimes, they would escape to their own homes. When their families heard that they had been captured by the Heavenly Fragrance Court, they would tie them up and send them back to the Heavenly Fragrance Court. This was because they did not dare to offend the Heavenly Fragrance Court. But today, the Heavenly Fragrance Court had offended a powerful person. The woman secretly cursed her subordinates for being so clumsy. However, now was not the time to find out who was responsible. Instead, she had to think of a way to solve the current situation. All sorts of thoughts flashed through her mind. A smile appeared on her face as she said, "Senior, there must be some misunderstanding. Why don't we come in and talk about it?" Misunderstanding? I don't think this is a misunderstanding. As soon as he finished speaking, The old man slammed his palm towards the heavenly fragrance court. A loud rumble was heard. The heavenly fragrance court, which was dozens of meters tall, instantly collapsed, turning into ruins. The prosperous heavenly fragrance court was destroyed just like that. Many people could not help but sigh endlessly. The woman was so angry that her whole body was trembling. She coldly looked at the old man and cursed loudly, "Old bastard, I was giving you face just now. You actually don't know how to appreciate kindness. Today, you destroyed my heavenly fragrance court. You deserve to die 1,000 times for your crime." The woman waved her hand, and 2 cultivators walked out from the crowd. These 2 cultivators emitted extremely evil auras from their bodies. Their auras were actually able to link together. When their auras were linked together, their cultivation levels immediately rose by a large margin. Chapter 57:38. Shinyu Elders. After seeing the 2 cultivators, someone immediately exclaimed. The identities of the 2 cultivators were not simple. They were famous experts in the Devil Dao. Back then, they were also existences that dominated the starry sky world. It was said that they cultivated a combination attack technique. Although they were only true immortals, when they worked together, it was said that they could fight against some Sage Realm cultivators. It was obvious how powerful these 2 cultivators were. It was said that 30,000 years ago, the 2 of them offended an extremely powerful figure. Since then, they had disappeared without a trace. Many people thought that they were dead. It turned out that they were not dead, but had joined the heavenly fragrance court. Of course, to be precise, they should not have joined the heavenly fragrance court, but the person behind the heavenly fragrance court. This was because the heavenly fragrance court alone would not be able to recruit such top-notch experts. After the 2 of them joined the heavenly fragrance court, they stayed in the heavenly fragrance court. The reason why they stayed in the heavenly fragrance court was because they were lustful. Every day, they would play with a few women. Otherwise, they would feel uncomfortable. There were all kinds of beauties in the heavenly fragrance court, so it was naturally their heaven. Now that the heavenly fragrance court was in trouble, it was time for the 2 of them to step in and protect the heavenly fragrance court. Actually, at this moment, the 2 of them had ugly expressions on their faces. Previously, they were still enjoying themselves, but now, they were disrupted. Now, they only wanted to kill. The 2 of them looked extremely gloomy. Their eyes flashed with dense killing intent as they looked at the old man. "Old thing, to be able to die in the hands of us 2 brothers, you can consider yourself lucky from your previous life." After saying that, a terrifying devil chi surged out from the 2 of them. The devil chi in their bodies fused together, and then the devil chi condensed into a huge 8 trigrams diagram. The 8 trigrams diagram formed by the devil chi flew towards the old man at high speed. After feeling the power of the 8 trigrams diagram, many of the surrounding cultivators who were watching the show trembled violently. The fluctuations emitted by the 8 trigrams diagram were too terrifying. That kind of aura made their hearts tremble. They were simply unable to resist that kind of terrifying aura. Some of the weaker cultivators could not even withstand that kind of terrifying aura and directly knelt on the ground. The woman from the heavenly fragrance court looked at the old man with an indifferent expression. As for Lin Feng and the others, she completely ignored them. In her opinion, among these people, only the old man was worthy of fighting. However, this old man's aura seemed to be very chaotic. Clearly, his body was not in good condition. It definitely wouldn't be too troublesome to deal with. Actually, the woman wasn't wrong. The old man had been tortured by the demonic seed technique, and his body was in a terrible condition. Even though Lin Feng had helped him suppress the demonic strength in his body, the old man was still far from reaching the peak of his cultivation. It was normal for the woman to look down on the old man's strength. At this moment, the old man made his move. He struck out with his palm across the void, instantly shattering the 8 trigrams diagram. Then, he charged towards the Xian and Yu elders. The Xian and Yu elders were both top-notch experts, so they could naturally sense just how terrifying that formless palm print was. Their expressions changed drastically. The old man was still in a relatively weak state, but he was already so powerful. It was hard to imagine what level his combat strength was at when he was at his peak. The Xian and Yu elders wanted to escape quickly, but it was already too late. The next moment, bang, bang, their bodies were directly shattered. The Xian and Yu elders were killed on the spot by the old man's formless palm. When they saw this scene, the surrounding people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. No one had expected something like this to happen. Wasn't the old man's strength a little too terrifying? It was simply unheard of. The female cultivator, who had been very pleased with herself, suddenly had a look of horror on her face. Her face was filled with shock. Her expression was a stark contrast to her previous arrogant demeanor. Her body trembled violently as she looked at the old man in terror. "Senior, please don't be angry. I'll apologize to you. Please don't kill me." She knew that she had caused a huge disaster and had angered the old man, so she begged for mercy. After all, she was a woman, and an extremely beautiful one at that. At this moment, her tearful and pitiful appearance was very pitiful. If the old man's heart softened, he probably wouldn't be willing to kill her. However, the old man didn't have any intention of taking pity on her. He said coldly, "If I take pity on you, who will take pity on my granddaughter?" The woman hurriedly said, "Senior, I really didn't know about this. If I knew about this, I would have stopped them. Besides, I'm the woman of the Broken Dragon clan's eldest son. If you kill me, you will offend the Broken Dragon clan. The Broken Dragon clan has as many experts as the clouds, and their influence is huge. If you offend them, I'm afraid you won't have a good ending. Why don't we both take a step back, and I will compensate you with many good things." As soon as the woman finished speaking, the old man struck out with his palm. Bang! The next moment, the woman's body directly exploded. "Run!" The cultivators of the Heavenly Fragrance Court shouted in horror, and then scattered in all directions. However, the old man didn't give them a chance to escape. He struck out again across the void. The invisible palm energy enveloped everyone in it. The cultivators of the Heavenly Fragrance Court didn't even have a chance to escape. Their bodies exploded, and they were directly killed by the old man. Dead, they're all dead. The Heavenly Fragrance Court has been destroyed, and the cultivators of the Heavenly Fragrance Court have been killed. "This is really a big mess," a cultivator in the crowd said. "What are you afraid of? This old man is too strong. I don't think he's afraid of the Broken Dragon clan at all," someone else said. Although the old man's cultivation is strong, his aura is chaotic and his physical condition is extremely bad. I estimate that he won't be able to hold on for long, and there are several Sage Realm experts in the Broken Dragon clan. If they want to deal with the old man, it won't be a difficult task. Another cultivator said. At this moment, a terrifying aura surged out from the depths of Broken Dragon City. There were experts rushing over. Chapter 5739. Obviously, the experts of the Broken Dragon clan were rushing over. Only the experts of the Broken Dragon clan had such a terrifying aura. The old man naturally had no intention of leaving. Even though his current cultivation was far from his peak, he had nothing to be afraid of. Not long after, the experts of the Broken Dragon clan flew over. There were more than 20 experts of the Broken Dragon clan, led by a rather young cultivator of the Dragon clan. Some people were discussing the identity of that cultivator. That cultivator's origin was not simple. That cultivator was the eldest young master of the Broken Dragon clan, the big boss behind the scenes of the Heavenly Fragrance Court. The Heavenly Fragrance Court was now completely destroyed. The eldest young master was extremely angry. His face was extremely gloomy. He looked at the old man and said coldly, "No one has ever dared to behave atrociously in my Broken Dragon City. No matter who it is, if they dare to look down on my Broken Dragon clan in my Broken Dragon City, they will have to pay the price in blood." "I really don't know where you get the courage to say such words in front of me," the old man sneered. He was very strong. After all, he was the 7th generation Thick Earth Great God, an existence at the God King level in the era of titled gods. Back then, he had probably touched an existence beyond the realm. Naturally, he was not afraid of getting into trouble. The eldest young master of the Broken Dragon clan said coldly, "If I didn't have the confidence, I naturally wouldn't dare to say such words. But since I dare to say such words, I have a way to deal with you." As soon as his voice fell, he formed a series of mysterious hand seals. The incantations were integrated into Broken Dragon City, and the endless array restrictions were activated in an instant. It turned out that he wanted to use the array to deal with the old man. The power of the array was, of course, extremely terrifying. If a cultivator with ordinary strength knew how to control some top-level arrays, he could even use these top-level arrays to kill extremely powerful cultivators. This was the terror of arrays. Therefore, when a cultivator displayed a powerful array, it was absolutely not to be underestimated. What's more, this array was displayed by the eldest young master of the Broken Dragon clan. That was even more not to be underestimated. At this moment, dense array patterns intertwined in the void. The power of Broken Dragon City's array restrictions was incomparably terrifying. Now, the array restrictions of Broken Dragon City began to prepare a powerful attack. Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly. Lin Feng didn't care much about these restrictions. If he wanted to break these restrictions, it wouldn't be difficult. However, there was no need for him to do anything now. Even if the old man's strength dropped drastically, Lin Feng felt that the old man completely had no problem dissolving these array formations and restrictions. Along with the surge of terrifying fluctuations, the restriction formation instantly released a terrifying attack. Then, he charged toward the old man. Facing the terrifying attack, the old man revealed a sneer on his face. He lightly tapped the void of space a few times. Then, something unbelievable happened. The formations and restrictions were all paralyzed. After seeing this scene, even Lin Feng revealed an extremely shocked expression. Clearly, the old man had an extremely deep understanding of formations and restrictions. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to break the restrictions so easily. If not for the stone scripture, Lin Feng wouldn't have been able to do this. But the old man did it. He was indeed worthy of being the 7th-generation god of thick earth. After the old man had broken the formation and restrictions, the old man had broken them. All of the attacks disappeared. The young master's face suddenly changed. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. Everything that happened in front of him, he was stunned. The old man didn't show any mercy to the young master and slapped at him. The young master recovered and quickly blocked the old man's attack. Bang! The two sides collided fiercely. The young master was directly sent flying by the old man. His cultivation was indeed quite good. Although he was sent flying by the old man, he didn't die. He just spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. The old man wanted to take this opportunity to kill the young master. He slapped at the young master across the void again. But just at this moment, the void trembled slightly as a powerful being of the dragon race appeared. Then, he clashed with the old man with a palm strike. Both parties were evenly matched. "Sir, what do you mean by this? Do you really think our Broken Dragon clan is easy to bully?" The expert from the dragon race said coldly. The old man sneered. "You bullied my granddaughter, so I won't let you off. You've killed so many people. You should be appeased by now, right?" The old man's voice contained dense killing intent. "Kill the person behind this, and today's matter will be over. Otherwise, I won't let this matter rest." The young girl had almost been kidnapped, which made the old man extremely angry. Therefore, he wouldn't let this matter rest so easily. The person behind the heavenly fragrance court was the young master, so he naturally wouldn't let him off so easily. The young master's face was gloomy, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he looked coldly at the old man. "I'd like to have a taste of your divine ability," the dragon expert said coldly. He formed countless seals with both hands. Then, 9 dragons condensed. The 9 dragons all flew towards the old man. Although they were condensed from divine abilities, they bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They were very lifelike. They were extremely terrifying. After seeing the 9 giant dragons, many people revealed horrified expressions. Sure enough, it was worthy of being called a sage expert's attack. After all, it was too terrifying. The old man said coldly, "Today, I'll let you have a taste of the top divine ability of the human race." The old man then used an extremely terrifying divine ability. This divine ability surprised Lin Feng, because Lin Feng also knew this divine ability. The divine ability that the old man used was the Emperor's technique. When this divine ability was used, many ancient saint emperors of the human race appeared behind the old man. These ancient saint emperors seemed to have transcended the primordial world and traversed the river of time to gaze at the old man. The old man's comprehension of this divine ability had definitely reached the pinnacle. His cultivation of this divine ability had even surpassed Lin Feng's cultivation of this divine ability. After all, Lin Feng had only cultivated this divine ability to perfection. However, the old man had cultivated this divine ability to the pinnacle. The power of this divine ability was unimaginable. The divine ability unleashed by the saint from the Duan Dragon clan was instantly broken. The saint was also sent flying. In midair, he coughed up 3 mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 5740. That old man is too strong. Even a saint from the Duan Dragon clan isn't a match for him. What's his cultivation level? He can't be a peak saint, can he? It's possible. Don't forget that he's still in a weak state, but he's still so terrifying. He's not someone we can provoke. The people of the heavenly fragrant garden are really blind this time. These people usually force women into prostitution, it's fine, but they didn't even look at the kind of people they kidnapped. This time, they only have themselves to blame for what happened. The heavenly fragrant garden has harmed so many innocent women. Isn't it all because of the eldest prince? I heard that the eldest prince isn't a good person. Back then, he fell in love with a pair of beautiful sisters. In order to offend them, he destroyed their entire clan. He's done too many immoral things. There's no end to it. He deserves to die. At that moment, many people were discussing spiritedly. As for the eldest prince, he was scared out of his wits. He originally thought that the Saint Realm experts of their clan would be able to defeat this old man, but the reality was not like that. Their clan's Saint Realm expert had been defeated so easily. He couldn't accept what was happening in front of him, but it was all true. He had to accept it even if he didn't want to. The eldest prince didn't dare to stay. He knew that if he tried to escape, he wouldn't be able to do so. So, he took out a teleportation talisman. As long as he crushed it, he would be able to teleport. He would be able to jump through the void and disappear instantly. This kind of void jump was extremely powerful. Moreover, this void jump was different from the void jump performed by using a sacred art. Casting a sacred art required time to brew, and during the brewing process, there was a chance that it would be intercepted by others. However, if one were to use a jade talisman to jump through space and time, it would be impossible. He could instantly teleport through time and space. The cultivator would be able to escape before his opponent could stop him. However, he had clearly underestimated the old man's ability. When he crushed the jade talisman, the void had already been confined. He had no chance to escape at all. His body had already been confined. The eldest prince looked at the eldest prince in horror, then shouted, "Don't kill me. I'm the eldest son of the Duan Dragon clan's patriarch. If you kill me, the 3 saints of the Duan Dragon clan won't let you go." The old man didn't take his threat to heart at all. The old man struck out with his palm, and the young master's body exploded. He died on the spot. When the saint from the Duan Dragon clan saw this scene, he couldn't help but be furious. At this moment, the void trembled slightly, and 2 more experts stepped out. One of them was a middle-aged cultivator, and the other was a white-haired old man. They were both Saint Realm experts. The 3 Saint Realm powerhouses of the Broken Dragon clan gathered. The middle-aged cultivator looked gloomy and said coldly, "In my Broken Dragon city, killing a member of my Broken Dragon tribe, and no one can save you." As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 saints began to prepare their divine abilities, wanting to besiege the eldest prince. The 3 saints of the Duan Dragon clan all had their own powerful techniques. Each of them circulated their magic power crazily, obviously not intending to hold back. The eldest prince said indifferently, "If you want to die, I don't mind fulfilling your wishes." Both sides looked like they were about to draw their swords. But at that moment, a voice was heard, "Everyone, please listen to me." After this voice was heard, Everyone turned their heads and saw a cultivator in a Taoist robe walking over. Huanglong Zhenren. After seeing this cultivator in a Taoist robe, many people couldn't help but exclaim. Huanglong Zhenren was a terrifying existence. He was at least one of the top 10 loose cultivators in the dragon world. It was rumored that his true body was a very rare yellow dragon. Therefore, in terms of talent, strength, and so on, he was definitely one of the top existences in the dragon clan. Although he was just a loose cultivator, no one dared to underestimate Huanglong Zhenren. Many great powers wanted to recruit him. However, no great power could truly recruit him. Huanglong Zhenren wandered among the great powers and was respected by others. Of course, the reason why Huanglong Zhenren could achieve his current status was because he was too strong. The main reason was because Huanglong was too powerful. Once he had enough power, even these top forces had to be respectful to him. After seeing Huanglong Zhenren, the three saints of the Duan Dragon clan's faces changed slightly. Since Huanglong Zhenren had spoken, they naturally had to give him face. But today, it seemed like they would have to suffer in silence. The three of them felt extremely sullen. The middle-aged cultivator said, "Since Huanglong Zhenren has spoken, we will give him face today. Today's matter will end here for the time being." The three Saint Realm experts then left. Huanglong Zhenren took a deep look at the eldest prince before leaving as well. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. After today's incident, they couldn't stay in Broken Dragon City any longer. Originally, Lin Feng wanted to rest here for a few days and inquire about the Broken Dragon Abyss. But now, he needed to find another way to deal with it. Lin Feng looked at the eldest prince and asked, "Senior, what are your plans?" The eldest prince said, "I want to take little Tingting to see an old friend of mine while I'm still conscious. Then, I'll hand her over to him." Lin Feng sighed slightly. Obviously, the eldest prince knew that although the demonic power in his body had been temporarily suppressed, it was only temporary. If you can't get rid of the demonic energy in your body, the demonic energy in your body will recover sooner or later. At that time, the demonic energy in your body will be even more terrifying, and it will be even more difficult to suppress the demonic energy. Therefore, the eldest prince wanted to make plans for little Tingting's future. Lin Feng nodded. He felt sad for the eldest prince's fate, but there were many things that Lin Feng couldn't change. Lin Feng looked at the eldest prince and said, "Then I wish Senior a safe journey." The eldest prince nodded and said, "I hope we'll have a chance to meet again in the future." The two of them chatted for a while before the eldest prince left with little Tingting. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint didn't continue to stay in Broken Dragon City and quickly left. Chapter 5741. After Lin Feng and the other two left Broken Dragon City, they came to a small town 100 miles away from Broken Dragon City to rest. The news in the small town was naturally not as well informed as in Broken Dragon City. However, they could still find out a lot of information here. Lin Feng and the other two first went to inquire about the news of Broken Dragon Abyss. They did find out a lot of information about Broken Dragon Abyss from here. That place was indeed very scary, and if one wanted to go to Broken Dragon Abyss, they needed to bring a special thing called Demon Dispelling Stone. The reason for bringing this thing was that there were many terrifying demon spirits in Broken Dragon Abyss, and those demon spirits were extremely difficult to deal with. It was impossible to guard against them. If one was not careful, they might be injured by those demon spirits. Therefore, they had to guard against those demon spirits. The Demon Dispelling Stone could dispel those demon spirits. There was a place in the small town that sold the Demon Dispelling Stone. There were many types of Demon Dispelling Stone. The purer the Demon Dispelling Stone, the more expensive it was. Lin Feng and the other two bought 3 pieces of the best Demon Dispelling Stone. Then they found a place to rest. They found an inn and booked 3 rooms. Back in the room, Lin Feng entered the time and space to study the stone statue he got. The stone statue was actually suppressed in the depths of the Mastermind's world. From this, it could be seen that the stone statue definitely hid many secrets. However, Lin Feng did not know what secrets the stone statue hid for the time being. Even the 7th-generation god of thick earth did not explore the stone statue's secrets. It could be seen how difficult it was to explore the stone statue's secrets. Of course, The seventh-generation god of thick earth could not explore the stone statue's secrets, but it did not necessarily mean that Lin Feng could not explore the stone statue's secrets. Perhaps Lin Feng could do this? Lin Feng's divine thought invaded the stone statue. However, as he had sensed before, this stone statue was indeed very ordinary. There was nothing special about it. There was not even a little bit of divine power inside the stone statue. This kind of stone statue was really strange to the extreme. However, Lin Feng was not surprised. After all, he had briefly sensed this stone statue before. When Lin Feng sensed the stone statue, he felt that the stone statue was very ordinary. There was nothing special about it. The result of this exploration was the same as the last time. What was the problem? Why couldn't he find anything special about this stone statue even though it was clearly extraordinary? Lin Feng did not give up. He continued to use his spiritual force to explore the stone statue. While he was searching for the stone statue, he had been using his magic power to nourish the stone statue, hoping to trigger some changes in the stone statue. However, the stone statue did not change at all. This stone statue looked like the most ordinary stone sculpture. Even if the sea turned into mulberry fields and the world changed, it would not change at all. Just as Lin Feng was about to give up on exploring the secrets of this stone statue, Lin Feng suddenly noticed that the stone statue seemed to move slightly. This made Lin Feng extremely shocked. However, when Lin Feng carefully probed, he found that the stone statue did not move at all. What was going on? Could it be that he sensed wrongly before? Lin Feng did not give up. He continued to explore the secrets of the stone statue, but there was still no gain. He could not help but smile bitterly. It seemed that it was not an easy task to explore the secrets of the stone statue. Therefore, Lin Feng decided not to explore the secrets of this stone statue for the time being. When there was time in the future, it would not be too late to explore the secrets of this stone statue. After coming out, Lin Feng rested for 2 days, and then the three of them set off for the Broken Dragon Abyss. Outside the Broken Dragon Abyss, dragon chi was rising. This place contained many dragon veins, but the dragon veins here were more heterogeneous. Most of them were evil dragon and demonic dragon veins. This kind of dragon vein was not suitable for cultivation. The reason why there were so many evil demonic dragon veins was said to be because many top-level dragon race experts had died in this place. The blood of those experts that had died contained their wills, as well as their unwillingness before death. In the end, it formed the evil dragon veins. Many cultivators stood in the distance and watched the Broken Dragon Abyss. Many people were talking about some legends of the Broken Dragon Abyss. After Lin Feng and the other two came here, they did not rashly enter the Broken Dragon Abyss. Lin Feng observed the Broken Dragon Abyss for a while. He saw a large amount of death aura constantly gushing out from the Broken Dragon Abyss. The death aura was very gloomy and terrifying. After feeling the death aura, Lin Feng's expression could not help but become dignified. The Broken Dragon Abyss was indeed not a simple place. It was definitely a place of great danger. But this operation, it was imperative. So even if it was dangerous, Lin Feng would never give up. Lin Feng and the other two entered the area where the Broken Dragon Abyss was located. Seeing someone enter the area where the Broken Dragon Abyss was located, many people could not help but point out. Now, few cultivators here dared to enter the Broken Dragon Abyss. After all, the Broken Dragon Abyss was so dangerous. The last time they saw someone enter the Broken Dragon Abyss, it was a matter of many years ago. Now that they saw someone enter the Broken Dragon Abyss again, it naturally aroused the discussion of the crowd. After entering the Broken Dragon Abyss, Lin Feng felt an extremely powerful spiritual power seemed to be recovering. The power of law was very terrifying, directly enveloping Lin Feng and the other two. It suppressed the spiritual power in their bodies. In this place, the strength would be greatly affected. Lin Feng and the other two carefully walked towards the depths. Soon after, they saw a few skeletons. Those skeletons, there were the skeletons of the Dragon Clan powerhouses, and there were also the skeletons of other powerful creatures. There were even the skeletons of human cultivators. Perhaps all the creatures who entered this place in the past had died in this place. The surrounding was filled with black gas, exuding a gloomy and cold aura. An extremely oppressive aura spread. The deeper they went, the stronger the oppressive feeling. The faces of Lin Feng and the other two could not help but become more and more dignified. Soon after, the cold wind whistled, the demonic qi rolled, and there was a faint gloomy laughter mixed in the cold wind and demonic qi. It was as if some terrifying existence was converging in this direction. "Hurry up and take out the demon-dispelling stone," Lin Feng said. He felt that it was very likely that some demonic spirits or other creatures had arrived. The three hurriedly took out the demon-dispelling stone. When they took out the demon-dispelling stone, their bodies were immediately enveloped by a special energy that surged out of the demon-dispelling stone. Then, the cold wind and demonic qi seemed to feel the power of the demon-dispelling stone and quickly retreated. Chapter 5742. After seeing those devil spirits leave, Lin Feng and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. The pressure that those devil spirits brought to them was still quite great, but now that those devil spirits had left, they could rest assured. Next, Lin Feng and the others continued to walk inside. They came to the entrance of the Broken Dragon Abyss. The Broken Dragon Abyss was a huge abyss, and a large amount of devil qi was constantly spewing out from the bottom of the abyss. Lin Feng looked down and saw that it was pitch black at the bottom of the Broken Dragon Abyss, and nothing could be seen. Lin Feng frowned slightly, and he thought about it in his heart. Was there really something passed down from the second generation of the ancestral dragon? If there really were these things, Lin Feng couldn't help but look forward to it. At this time, Lin Feng found that Xiaolong actually transmitted an extremely excited emotion. Lin Feng immediately became happy. Xiaolong transmitted an excited emotion. Did it mean that there really was something passed down from the second generation of the ancestral dragon? Or else, Xiaolong didn't need to transmit such an excited emotion. Xiaolong directly flew out of the time and space. Previously, Lin Feng bought some special spiritual liquid for Xiaolong and the rest. Let Xiaolong and the rest swallow and refine it. At this time, Xiaolong had already refined his part of the spiritual liquid. Now, Xiaolong's body was almost 30 meters long. When its wings spread out, it was 30 to 40 meters long, and its body was already quite huge. Of course, Xiaolong's strength was also extremely terrifying now. It was just that Xiaolong's body looked a little strange. From the appearance, Xiaolong was somewhat like the heavenly dragon clan, but he had a pair of huge wings. And what made Lin Feng feel the most surprised was that Xiaolong also had a pair of tails. Generally speaking, the dragon race only had one tail, but Xiaolong had a pair of tails, one extra tail compared to other dragons. What was going on? It was Lin Feng's first time seeing a dragon like Xiaolong. In fact, at the very beginning, Xiaolong only had one tail. After Xiaolong completed several evolutions, he grew a second tail. And the current Xiaolong's strength was very terrifying. After the little dragon flew out, it rubbed its head against Lin Feng's palm. Lin Feng looked at Xiaolong and asked, "Did you sense something?" Xiaolong replied, "I seem to sense something calling out to me, but I don't know what it is." Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. Since Xiaolong said so, it seemed like there really was something below calling out to Xiaolong. That thing should be able to help Xiaolong improve his cultivation or even evolve. Now, Xiaolong had evolved 5 times. If Xiaolong could continue to evolve, for Xiaolong, it would be a major transformation and breakthrough. In reality, Xiaolong's strength had truly grown. Although he was only in the true immortal realm, Xiaolong's talent was simply too great. Compared to Lin Feng, it didn't seem to be that far off. This was what shocked Lin Feng the most. This was because Lin Feng felt that even if the ancestral dragon's direct descendant was compared to his talent, there was still a certain gap. However, Xiaolong's talent was only a little bit worse than his. This was too terrifying. Lin Feng said, "Then let's go down and take a look." Following which, Lin Feng, Xiaolong, Du Zhu, and the evil sovereign saint quickly flew down. The abyss contained an extremely eerie and terrifying aura. When Lin Feng and the others entered the abyss, they felt a strange energy surging into their bodies. That strange energy caused Lin Feng's soul to be affected to a certain extent. Many strange images seemed to appear in his mind. His head also became a little muddled. Lin Feng's expression couldn't help but change. This kind of energy should be able to affect a cultivator's soul. If a cultivator's soul was affected, the situation would be extremely bad. So, Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate. He hurriedly activated Liu Yu's stargazing chart. Only then did his soul become more stable. Du Zhu, the evil sovereign saint, and Xiaolong's souls were obviously affected as well. However, they all had some special methods to resolve this effect. Du Zhu said, "This place is really strange. If we didn't have some powerful methods, we might have been lost here before we even reached the bottom of the abyss." The evil sovereign saint said, "There are indeed many things that are difficult to explain in a place like this." Lin Feng said, "Everyone, be careful. There might be some terrifying things down there." Du Zhu and the others nodded. It was indeed easy for some terrifying things to appear in this kind of place. For example, terrifying existences like the Yin God, or some other things. Sometimes, there would even be things that were difficult to explain. Not long after, Lin Feng and the others arrived at the bottom of the abyss. At the bottom of the abyss, there were many corpses. However, these corpses were extremely weathered. Therefore, it looked like they couldn't bear the weight anymore. When Lin Feng and the others stepped on the bottom of the abyss, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Many of the corpses were directly crushed by their feet. Other than that, Lin Feng and the others also smelled a strong smell of blood. After smelling the strong smell of blood, Lin Feng frowned slightly. How could there be such a strong smell of blood in this place? They walked inside with a serious expression. Not long after, Lin Feng saw that there was actually a huge blood-colored flower growing at the bottom of the abyss. That blood-colored flower was constantly emitting blood-colored energy. That blood-colored energy was lingering around that blood-colored flower. That strong and somewhat pungent smell should be the smell released by that blood-colored flower. That blood-colored flower looked extremely demonic. Its roots were constantly swaying in the void. At this moment, Lin Feng and the others' bodies were attacked by an invisible force, and they were all sent flying. "It's that blood-colored flower." Lin Feng's expression became serious. That blood-colored flower was too strange. Lin Feng let Du Zhu, the evil dominator saint, and Xiaolong retreat, and then he quickly rushed towards the blood-colored flower. Lin Feng planned to cut off the blood-colored flower's roots. If he cut off its roots, it should be able to cut off its life force. However, Lin Feng couldn't get close to that blood-colored flower at all, because when he was halfway there, the blood-colored flower's roots swayed slightly, and then Lin Feng was sent flying again by a terrifying invisible force. Chapter 57:43. Shit. Why is this blood-red flower so strange? Lin Feng couldn't help but look grave and solemn. At that moment, the Demon Lord transmitted his voice to Lin Feng. This blood-red flower should be called Hell's Blood Flower. Hell's Blood Flower? When he heard that name, Lin Feng was astonished. It was the first time Lin Feng had heard of such a plant. Yao Jun said, "It's a kind of plant that originally grew in hell. It's very special. It can continuously absorb all kinds of energy from the world for its own use. If you can kill this hell blood flower, you can take its flower pearl. Its flower pearl contains an incomparably vast amount of energy. If you can refine it, your cultivation will increase by quite a bit." When he heard the Demon Lord's words, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Lin Feng was currently worrying about how to increase his cultivation. If he could obtain the Hell's Blood Flower, it would be a great opportunity. But how could he cut off the Hell's Blood Flower's roots? Lin Feng was worried. After all, it was very difficult for them to get close to the Hell's Blood Flower. Lin Feng thought of a way. Perhaps he could use his heavenly fire to deal with the Hell's Blood Flower. When he thought of this, Lin Feng took out all 8 of his heavenly fire. The flames burned fiercely and quickly spread towards the Hell's Blood Flower. The Hell's Blood Flower was enveloped in flames. But at that moment, a large amount of blood-red fog gushed out of the Hell's Blood Flower and protected it. Even though the blood-red mist was constantly decreasing, it was still rapidly decreasing. However, before long, even more blood-red fog condensed. When he saw this, Lin Feng's expression became unsightly. Even his heavenly fire couldn't deal with the Hell's Blood flower. This flower was really strange. For a moment, Lin Feng didn't know how to deal with the Hell's Blood flower. At that moment, Xiaolong said, "Big Brother Feng, maybe I can deal with the Netherworld Blood flower." Lin Feng's eyes lit up when he heard Xiaolong's words. He asked, "What idea do you have?" Xiaolong chuckled and said, "Just watch me and you'll know." Xiaolong flew directly towards the Nether Blood flower. At this moment, the Nether Blood flower continued to vibrate with an invisible force and attacked Xiaolong. As for Xiaolong's 2 dragon horns, rays of holy light gushed out one after another. Those rays of holy light were extremely powerful. It protected Xiaolong's body. Meanwhile, a powerful devouring power gushed out from Xiaolong's dragon horn. Lin Feng sensed an invisible force flying towards the dragon's horn. Then, the dragon's horn devoured it. Lin Do was shocked. How could Xiaolong's horn be so powerful? Why was it so strange? Generally speaking, a dragon's horn usually had a powerful attack, but Lin Feng had never seen a dragon's horn that could devour other energy or attack. However, this situation made Lin Feng extremely happy. Xiaolong quickly approached the Nether Blood flower. The Nether Blood flower seemed to know that if it allowed Xiaolong to get close, the situation would be extremely dangerous for it. Thus, it released a large amount of blood-colored mist. The blood-colored mist condensed into many blood devils. These blood devils bared their fangs and brandished their claws. Their roars shook the sky as they all pounced towards Xiaolong. Xiaolong began to chant an ancient incantation in the face of these blood devils' attacks. When the incantation was finished, Xiaolong opened its mouth and spat out a huge ball of energy. That energy ball was a dazzling golden ball of energy condensed from energy. The ball of energy quickly flew towards the blood devils. It collided with the blood devils. A loud bang rang out. The ball of energy that Xiaolong had spat out had actually turned all the blood devils into ashes. Lin Feng had a dumbfounded expression on his face. Xiaolong's attack power was really too strong. Duzu said, "Damn, how is this little guy so awesome? I wonder what race this little guy is from?" Lin Feng said, "I don't know what race he is from either. All these years, he has been bitterly cultivating in the space-time continuum. I know that his strength is already very strong, but I didn't expect him to be this strong." Lin Feng couldn't help but think of Bibi, Blackie, and the others. Their talent wasn't inferior to Xiaolong's, and they had already completed several evolutions. Their current strength was extremely terrifying. However, Bibi and the others were still in seclusion. This time, only Xiaolong came out early. At this time, Xiaolong quickly arrived at the Nether Blood flower. The Nether Blood flower rapidly expanded, wanting to devour Xiaolong. Xiaolong slapped out with its claw, directly slapping the Nether Blood flower to the side. Then, Xiaolong's claw grabbed the Nether Blood flower's roots and suddenly pulled. The Nether Blood flower's roots were torn apart by Xiaolong. Once the roots were torn apart, the Nether Blood flower lost all of its attacking power. Xiaolong looked at Lin Feng excitedly and said, "Brother Feng, I killed the Nether Blood flower." In truth, although Xiaolong was strong, it still lacked battle experience. Therefore, Xiaolong might not be able to fully display its strength. Lin Feng thought that he should let Bibi and the others participate in more battles like this. This way, they could quickly sharpen their cultivation and increase their battle experience. Lin Feng looked at Xiaolong and smiled. Well done. Xiaolong was even happier when it heard Lin Feng's praise. Lin Feng flew over. He arrived beside the Nether Blood flower. Then, he tore it apart. Sure enough, he found a blood-colored bead inside the Nether Blood flower. This should be the flower bead that the Demon Lord had told him about. After seeing the Nether Blood flower's flower bead, Lin Feng's face immediately revealed a smile. The energy contained within the flower bead was extremely majestic and powerful. After he refined it, he didn't know what realm he could raise his cultivation to. He didn't dare to say much, but raising 1 or 2 realms wouldn't be a problem. After Lin Feng put away the flower bead, he continued to walk towards the depths of the Broken Dragon Abyss with Xiaolong, Du Zhu, and the evil Sovereign Saint. Chapter 5744 The depths of Broken Dragon Abyss were very large and deep. They walked for a long time but still couldn't reach the deepest part of Broken Dragon Abyss. At that moment, Lin Feng and the others saw many man-eating devil flowers in front of them. These man-eating devil flowers were very strange. It was a very rare creature. It was rumored that they could devour powerful titled gods. From this, one could see how powerful these man-eating devil flowers were. However, since they were plant-type creatures, Lin Feng felt that these man-eating devil flowers would be restrained by the heavenly fire. This was because plant-type creatures belong to the wood element, and among the 5 elements, fire restrained wood. Therefore, Lin Feng summoned his heavenly fire. He wanted to burn all the man-eating devil flowers in front of them to death. However, Lin Feng didn't expect that when the heavenly fire burned, the man-eating devil flowers didn't burn to death. They actually resisted the heavenly fire's burning. This was something that Lin Feng didn't expect at all. What was going on? Lin Feng couldn't help but be extremely surprised. Du Zhu said, I saw some information about man-eating devil flowers in a Taoist scripture. It said that the man-eating devil flowers don't belong to the wood element, but to the metal element. Du Zhu said, the metal element? Lin Feng's face immediately showed a puzzled expression. Logically speaking, the man-eating devil flowers should belong to the wood element. Why would they belong to the metal element? Lin Feng looked at Du Zhu and asked, why is the man-eating devil flowers of the metal element? Du Zhu said, according to the Taoist scripture, the man-eating devil flowers are a special kind of creature born from metal. Therefore, they aren't plant-type creatures of the wood element, but of the metal element. After hearing Du Zhu's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. The world was big, and there were all kinds of strange things. It was very likely that the man-eating devil flowers of the metal element was a metal element creature. In that case, Lin Feng's heavenly fire couldn't restrain these man-eating devil flowers. He summoned all the heavenly flames back. Lin Feng and the others tried to force their way through. However, at this moment, a powerful devouring power gushed out from within the man-eating fiend flower. The devouring power of so many man-eating devil flowers fused together and formed an extremely terrifying confinement magnetic field. This confinement magnetic field could confine the magic power of a cultivator. Once trapped by the magnetic field, a cultivator's cultivation would be greatly affected. Therefore, the situation was quite bad. In the face of such a situation, one must be cautious and prudent, or else it was very likely that he would be devoured by the man-eating demon flower. Lin Feng and the others quickly retreated, opening up a certain distance. When they put some distance between themselves and the Ogre King, the devouring power of the Ogre Demon Flower could no longer affect Lin Feng and the others. Do you have any way to deal with the man-eating demon flower? Lin Feng could not help but ask. Du Zhu thought about it and said, perhaps we can use poison to deal with the man-eating demon flower. Oh, these man-eating demon flowers are afraid of poison? Lin Feng asked in surprise. Du Zhu said, perhaps there is nothing in this world that is not afraid of poison. Lin Feng nodded. Du Zhu released an extremely powerful poison. The poison all flew towards the man-eating demon flower. The poison enveloped the man-eating demon flower. Then, it began to seep into the insides of the man-eating demon flower. A large amount of black energy gushed out from the insides of the man-eating demon flower, and the black energy contained some poison. The poison was the poison that had entered the man-eating demon flower before. Now, it was expelled by the man-eating demon flower. It seemed that these man-eating demon flowers were indeed affected by the poison. However, Lin Feng found that the defense of these man-eating demon flowers was still very terrifying. It was not an easy task to kill these man-eating demon flowers with poison. However, Du Zhu's poison was able to suppress the man-eating demon flowers for the time being. This was a very good result. When the poison suppressed the man-eating demon flowers, Lin Feng and the others quickly went deeper. They came to the side of the man-eating demon flowers. At this moment, the man-eating demon flowers did not have the energy to deal with Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng took out the stone sword. The stone sword slashed towards the man-eating demon flowers. All the man-eating demon flowers had their roots cut off by Lin Feng. The man-eating demon flowers lost their vitality. After Lin Feng put away the treasured sword, he and the others continued to go deeper. An hour later, they arrived at the deepest part of the Broken Dragon Abyss. In the deepest part of the Broken Dragon Abyss, there was a pitch-black canyon. That pitch-black canyon emitted an extremely cold aura. Nothing could be seen inside. However, that pitch-black canyon gave off a very strange feeling. After arriving, Xiaolong said, "The thing that called me is inside that pitch-black canyon." Lin Feng nodded, but they did not directly enter the pitch-black canyon. This was because Lin Feng felt that the pitch-black canyon was too dangerous. If they rashly entered it, they might encounter some extremely dangerous situations. Lin Feng thought about it, and decided to let Du Zhu and the evil sovereign saint meet them outside. And he and Xiaolong entered. After the few of them had finished their discussion, Lin Feng and Xiaolong entered the pitch-black canyon. When they entered the pitch-black canyon, a gloomy and terrifying aura immediately enveloped their bodies. However, they were powerful. That kind of aura was not able to affect them too much. They walked through the pitch-black canyon. Soon, they saw some skeletons. It was unknown when these creatures had died here. Lin Feng even saw some skeletons wearing storage rings on their fingers. However, this place was a bit strange. It made Lin Feng's hair stand on end. So, even if he saw those storage rings, Lin Feng did not collect those storage rings with Xiaolong. Lin Feng was worried that if they did such a thing, they would encounter a disaster halfway. That would not be worth the loss. Finding the things left behind by the second ancestor dragon was the most important thing. They continued to walk inside. After walking for about 1,000 meters, they saw a huge dragon corpse lying in front of them. The dragon corpse, the flesh and blood had already disappeared, leaving only a skeleton. After seeing the skeleton, Lin Feng's pupils could not help but shrink slightly. Could it be that the huge dragon skeleton was the skeleton of the second ancestor dragon? Chapter 57:45. Let's go and take a look, Lin Feng said. Xiaolong nodded, then walked towards the huge skeleton with Lin Feng. Soon, they came to the side of the huge skeleton. It was a huge skeleton. Although it had been dead for an unknown number of years, the skeleton still contained an extremely powerful aura. The pressure contained within the dragon bones made people feel suffocated. Xiaolong looked at it and said, "This is not the skeleton of the ancestral dragon." "Oh? If it's not the skeleton of the ancestral dragon, then what is it?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. Xiaolong said, "If I'm not wrong, this skeleton should be the skeleton of the ancestral dragon's descendant." Lin Feng nodded. The possibility of this was very high. After all, what kind of terrifying existence was the ancestral dragon? It was impossible for his skeleton to appear so easily. "Have you found the thing that called you?" Lin Feng asked. Xiaolong said, "I've already sensed it." Then, they entered the skeleton. Inside the skeleton, Xiaolong found that thing. That thing was an unknown black stone. But what was the origin of the stone? Lin Feng did not know. The black stone emitted a gloomy and cold aura. When Xiaolong saw the stone, he was extremely excited. Lin Feng asked, "What is this thing?" Xiaolong said, "This thing is called the Black Soul Stone." "Black Soul Stone? Does it have any special use?" Lin Feng asked curiously. This was the first time he had heard of the Black Soul Stone. Xiaolong said, "Brother Feng, you also know that the strength and divine abilities of us dragon cultivators are relatively strong, but our souls are relatively weak. It's not easy for dragon cultivators to improve their souls. During the long years of cultivation, the improvement of the dragon cultivators' souls is very slow. Perhaps it's because the dragon race's soul grows more slowly that this has become a huge hindrance to the development of the dragon race. There are some special things in the world that can greatly increase the soul power of dragon cultivators. This Black Soul Stone is one of them." "I see." Lin Feng nodded. If Xiaolong's soul realm was greatly enhanced, then Xiaolong's talent and battle prowess would be greatly enhanced. Xiaolong replied, "But I feel that this Black Soul Stone is different from ordinary Black Soul Stones." "What's different?" Lin Feng asked doubtfully. "In my bloodline memories, the aura of an ordinary Black Soul Stone is far less pure than the aura of this one." Xiaolong said. Lin Feng said, if this obsidian soul stone is able to call out to you, could it be that it has already given birth to its own consciousness? Hearing Lin Feng say so, Xiaolong immediately became extremely happy. If the obsidian soul stone had given birth to its own consciousness, then it would be too extraordinary and could very well have transformed into a black soul source stone. Ordinary black soul stones would be destroyed after absorbing the energy. However, the black soul source stone was different. After absorbing the energy of the black soul source stone, it could continue to condense the energy. After a period of time, it could once again absorb the energy of the black soul source stone to increase its soul power. Obsidian soul stones were already very rare, let alone the black soul source stone. The black soul source stone was almost invisible. Xiaolong hurriedly used his divine sense to sense the obsidian soul stone. Soon, he said excitedly, it really is a black soul source stone. Looks like I've encountered a great opportunity this time. Seeing that Xiaolong had encountered such an opportunity, Lin Feng was naturally very happy. Then, Lin Feng began a search for other things. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a dragon pearl. Dragon pearls were also called dragon cores. They were very precious. Lin Feng looked at Xiaolong and asked, "Do you need a dragon pearl?" Xiaolong said, "I don't need this kind of thing anymore." Lin Feng nodded. Then, he kept the dragon pearl. Soon, Lin Feng found a few more saint bones. These were the saint bones passed down by the ancestral dragon. The value was unimaginable. They might contain some secrets of the dragon clan or some top-notch divine ability. These things were not particularly attractive to Lin Feng, but they were very attractive to the dragon clan. Lin Feng continued to search for a while and found a few more dragon clan treasures. Yeah, what's that? Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He saw something very special. He quickly walked over and came to the side of the item. He put the item away. Lin Feng's face immediately revealed a shocked expression. It was actually a gem. However, it was not an ordinary gem. It contained powerful spatial energy. At that moment, Lin Feng's world-ending glove began to vibrate violently, resonating with the gem. Lin Feng was shocked. Could this spatial gem be one of the 5 gems that came with the world-ending glove? Lin Feng had only obtained the world-ending glove, but he had not obtained any gems. It seemed that he had obtained his first gem today. Moreover, it was an extraordinary spatial gem. Lin Feng's face revealed an extremely excited expression. This was because the world-ending glove's origin was too extraordinary and its power was too terrifying. If he could gather all 5 gems for the world-ending glove, when the time came, in the heavens, perhaps there would be very few people who could withstand the world-ending glove's attack. They searched for a while more, but they did not find anything else of value. They decided to leave this place. Lin Feng and Xiaolong quickly rushed outside. But at that moment, a dark energy appeared in the depths of the cave. The darkness was devouring the light. When Lin Feng saw that, his expression suddenly changed. Even though he didn't know what was going on in the depths of the cave, he was surprised. However, Lin Feng had a feeling that the darkness in the depths of the cave was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng and Xiaolong quickly rushed forward. However, the darkness behind them was extremely fast. The light was constantly being devoured. Although Lin Feng and Xiaolong were very fast, they could not escape the darkness. Thus, Lin Feng thought of using spatial teleportation to leave this place. However, Lin Feng's heart sank. After using spatial teleportation, he was actually unable to leave this place with Xiaolong. This was because the space here had been sealed. The darkness had devoured all the light. Lin Feng and Xiaolong were also swallowed by the darkness. Chapter 57-46. After being swallowed by the darkness, Lin Feng felt extremely depressed. He didn't know what was hidden in the darkness. He quickly activated the sovereign armor. Then, he took out the Phoenix Shield. The Phoenix Shield released a powerful energy, which condensed into a powerful defensive light cover. The powerful defensive barrier formed by the Phoenix Shield enveloped Lin Feng and Xiaolong. Then, Lin Feng felt a powerful force ruthlessly collide with the defensive barrier formed by the Phoenix Shield. Clearly, An unknown existence had launched an attack on Lin Feng and Xiaolong. Facing the attack, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a solemn expression. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of existence it was because it hadn't revealed itself yet. However, Lin Feng knew that an existence that could devour light was definitely an unimaginably terrifying existence. Xiaolong helped Lin Feng activate the Phoenix Shield to block the attack. In the darkness, there seemed to be a pair of cold eyes staring at Lin Feng and Xiaolong. Lin Feng couldn't see where the existence was hiding. However, he could feel that the existence was watching them from somewhere. It was a terrible feeling. Lin Feng and Xiaolong wanted to break out of the encirclement, but it was difficult to do so. An extremely powerful restrictive force formed in the darkness. That restrictive force was constantly exerting pressure on Lin Feng and Xiaolong. The defensive barrier formed by the Phoenix Shield was about to collapse. This situation was extremely bad for Lin Feng and Xiaolong. If they waited until the defensive barrier was completely shattered, Lin Feng and Xiaolong would be in extreme danger. Lin Feng used the Great Art of Destiny. He hoped that the Great Art of Destiny could change the dangerous situation he was in. But this time, Lin Feng's Great Art of Destiny couldn't resolve the danger he was in. The main reason was that the existence hidden in the darkness was too terrifying. What kind of existence are you? Don't tell me you don't dare to show yourself? Lin Feng said coldly. The other party did not pay attention to Lin Feng's provocation. His attack power had once again increased by a lot. Cracking sounds could be heard. The defensive barrier formed by the Phoenix Shield began to shatter. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng and Xiaolong's expressions changed greatly. The situation was extremely bad. Lin Feng planned to summon the Book of the Dead and fight to the death with the other party. However, Lin Feng wasn't too confident. After all, in the face of such a terrifying existence, numbers wouldn't be of much use. Right at this moment, a dazzling beam of holy light surged in from the outside and blasted into the darkness. In the middle of the holy light, a space-time gate actually appeared. After seeing the space-time gate, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. He and Xiaolong quickly flew towards the space-time gate. In an instant, they disappeared without a trace. When Lin Feng and the others reappeared, they were already outside the canyon. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint were waiting for them outside. Obviously, Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint had used some kind of powerful magic treasure, or used some kind of powerful method to rescue Lin Feng and Xiaolong at this critical moment. Lin Feng revealed an expression of relief. The situation just now was really too dangerous. Let's go, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. He waved his hand and a powerful magic power surged out, enveloping everyone and quickly rushing outside. And at this moment, darkness constantly surged out of the canyon. All the light was swallowed by the darkness. An incomparably dense killing intent was transmitted from the darkness. The unknown existence regarded Lin Feng and Xiaolong as his prey. He originally thought that his prey would never be able to escape, but Lin Feng and Xiaolong escaped. This completely infuriated the unknown existence. So, this unknown existence's killing intent was monstrous. Not only did he want to kill Lin Feng and Xiaolong, but he also wanted to kill Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint outside. Even though he was extremely fast, Lin Feng had started ahead of him, and the distance between them wasn't short. Lin Feng's speed was also fast enough. He took Xiaolong, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint and quickly rushed out of the Broken Dragon Abyss. The unknown existence in the darkness let out a low roar of unwillingness. He did not fly out of the Broken Dragon Abyss, and it was unknown if he was imprisoned here by the Broken Dragon Abyss. Or perhaps there was some other reason. Lin Feng and the others let out a sigh of relief. They did not dare to stay here any longer. They quickly left this place. After coming out, everyone was completely relaxed. The situation just now was really dangerous. If they were any slower, they might not even be able to escape. Du Zhu asked, "That existence, what exactly is it? It's actually so terrifying." Lin Feng shook his head and said, "I didn't see what kind of creature that existence was, but it's obviously not something good. We can't stay here for long. Let's leave quickly." Du Zhu, the evil Dominator Saint, and Xiaolong nodded. Then, Lin Feng and the others quickly left this place. They returned to the town. Xiaolong entered the time and space to enter seclusion. Lin Feng also planned to enter seclusion. This was because Lin Feng had obtained the flower pearl and the space gem. He first wanted to refine the flower pearl and raise his cultivation level. At the same time, he also wanted to fuse the space gem and the world-extinguishing glove. Lin Feng was now at the second sky of the Saint Immortal Realm. He wondered how much his cultivation level would increase after refining the flower pearl. After a big meal, Lin Feng also entered seclusion. He also entered the time and space to enter seclusion. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and took out the flower pearl. He began to refine the pure energy contained within the flower pearl. Lin Feng refined and absorbed the powerful energy, and Lin Feng's cultivation level began to rise. After a day, Lin Feng broke through to the third sky of the Saint Immortal Realm. However, this breakthrough was not over yet because Lin Feng's body still contained a powerful energy. Lin Feng continued to cultivate. After another 2 days, Lin Feng's cultivation level rose from the third sky of the Saint Immortal Realm to the fourth sky of the Saint Immortal Realm. When Lin Feng's cultivation level rose to the fourth sky of the Saint Immortal Realm, the energy contained within the Dragon Pearl was finally completely absorbed by Lin Feng. Then, Lin Feng took out the space gem and the world-extinguishing glove. The two items could sense each other, so they emitted intense fluctuations. Lin Feng began to use his magic energy to refine the space gem and the world-extinguishing glove. Then, he tried to fuse the space gem and the world-extinguishing glove. Chapter 5747. In the previous chapter, it was written incorrectly that Lin Feng was already at the fourth heaven of the Saint Immortal Realm after refining the petrified dragon egg. Therefore, he should have broken through to the sixth heaven of the Saint Immortal Realm after breaking through 2 levels. It was written incorrectly that he had broken through from the second heaven of the Saint Immortal Realm to the fourth heaven of the Saint Immortal Realm. After refining it with his magic power, Lin Feng tried to fuse the space gem with the groove on the world-terminating glove. However, Lin Feng realized that the space gem could not fuse with the world-terminating glove. Lin Feng was extremely confused. He did not know what was going on. Could it be that there was a problem with one of the steps? However, Lin Feng felt that there was no problem at all. Why could it not fuse? Lin Feng could not help but frown deeply. However, he did not give up. He continued to refine the 2 treasures. However, Lin Feng still could not fuse them completely. Was the problem with the world-terminating glove or the space gem? Lin Feng carefully sensed the world-terminating glove in his hand. He realized that there seemed to be 5 types of energy within the world-terminating glove. These 5 types of energy corresponded to the abilities of the 5 gems. Was the reason why he could not fuse the space gem with the world-terminating glove because he had not activated the special energy within the world-terminating glove? After thinking about this, Lin Feng quickly tried to activate the special energy within the world-terminating glove. When the spatial energy within the world-terminating glove was activated, Lin Feng realized that there were some special changes to the world-terminating glove. Lin Feng tried to fuse the space gem with the world-terminating glove again. This time, Lin Feng succeeded in fusing the space gem with the world-terminating glove. After fusing with the space gem, the world-terminating glove's aura became more than 10 times stronger. Moreover, Lin Feng felt that he could shatter the void with a single punch. After sensing the power of the world-terminating glove, Lin Feng immediately revealed an excited expression. The increase in power of the world-terminating glove was extremely important to him. After resting for a day, Lin Feng and Du Zhu returned to Ancient Dragon City. After returning to the Ancient Dragon City, Lin Feng went to have an audience with the Dragon Emperor. He took out the sage bones, the dragon tribe's magical treasures, and the dragon pearl and gave them all to the Dragon Emperor. Lin Feng had no use for these things, so he could give them to the Dragon Emperor in exchange for the dragon saliva fruit that he needed. After seeing these items, the Dragon Emperor didn't ask whether Lin Feng had anything else. Because he knew that since Lin Feng had only taken out these 3 items, Lin Feng would definitely not take out anything else. He would never admit that there was anything else. The Dragon Emperor was a trustworthy person. After receiving these things from Lin Feng, he took out 2 dragon saliva fruits and gave them to Lin Feng. Lin Feng also didn't stay for long at the Dragon Monarch's place. He immediately bid farewell and left. After Lin Feng left, an old man walked out. An old cultivator walked out and said, "It seems like he was greedy." The Dragon Emperor nodded and said, "I had expected him to do this. How could someone take out everything they have? However, he's a talent. Since he wants those things, I'll just treat it as giving them to him." The old man nodded and stood in the middle of the hall, like an immovable stone statue. The first princess also learned that Lin Feng had returned, so she came to visit Lin Feng. Lin Feng was very happy to see the first princess. After all, anyone would be happy to see a beautiful woman. The first princess asked, "Did your journey go smoothly?" Lin Feng nodded. "Not bad," said Lin Feng. "By the way, Lin Gongzi, the True Dragon's secret realm created by the second True Dragon Emperor will open soon. Lin Gongzi, are you interested in cultivating there?" The first princess asked. "Oh, the True Dragon's secret realm created by the second True Dragon Emperor?" Lin Feng was surprised. The first princess nodded and said, "The True Dragon's secret realm created by the second True Dragon Emperor is no small matter. It's even more extraordinary than some other True Dragon secret realms. There are many great opportunities in the True Dragon secret realm. For example, the dragon saliva fruit can be found in the True Dragon secret realm. Apart from the dragon saliva fruit, there are many other opportunities in the True Dragon secret realm. The True Dragon secret realm opens once every 10,000 years, and it will open again in a year or so. When the True Dragon secret realm opens, the experts of the 5 regions will gather and enter the True Dragon secret realm to search for opportunities to increase their cultivation. When Lin Feng heard the great princess, he was very interested in the mysterious dragon world. The True Dragon secret realm was a great place to increase one's cultivation. Perhaps he could raise his cultivation to the Saint stage in the True Dragon secret realm? If Lin Feng could raise his cultivation to the Saint stage, Lin Feng's battle prowess and even his life form would undergo an earth-shattering change. At that time, Lin Feng would be completely different. Lin Feng said, "I'll have to trouble you to inform me when the time comes." "All right." The first princess smiled. The two of them chatted about many other things. Lin Feng and the first princess hit it off quite well. The first princess stayed with Lin Feng for 2 hours before leaving. After the first princess left, Lin Feng planned to refine the 2 dragon saliva fruits to increase his cultivation. Lin Feng was already at the 6th heavenly layer of the Saint Immortal Realm. It would be even more difficult for him to break through now. However, the 2 dragon saliva fruits were no small matter. Perhaps he could use them to break through again. Lin Feng went into seclusion to refine the dragon saliva fruits. Lin Feng refined the 2 dragon saliva fruits into pure energy. After absorbing the energy, his cultivation had indeed made another breakthrough. Lin Feng's cultivation broke through from the 6th heavenly layer of the Saint Immortal Realm to the 7th heavenly layer of the Saint Immortal Realm. Chapter 57-48. Previously, Lin Feng had met the 9 sons of the 8th Real Dragon Emperor in the 9 Beast Mountain in the Southern Fairy Demon Territory. At that time, Lin Feng had promised them that he would remove their curse when he had the ability. However, Lin Feng had not returned to the Southern Fairy Demon Territory, so he could not remove their curse. Lin Feng planned to go to the Southern Fairy Demon Territory to remove the curse when he went back to the 9 regions to collect the Devil Blade. But now, Lin Feng had one more thing to do. Lin Feng had promised them that he would go to their father's grave and pay respects to their father on their behalf. The 8th Real Dragon Emperor was a pure-blooded real dragon, whose cultivation was beyond imagination. Lin Feng remembered that the grave of the 8th Real Dragon Emperor was in the True Dragon Ridge. The True Dragon Ridge was at the border of the Ancient Dragon Alliance and the Evil Dragon Alliance. That place was filled with ancient primeval forests. It was said that there were some extremely ancient and terrifying races living in those ancient primeval forests. Even the dragon race would not easily provoke those ancient and powerful races. There was still some time before the opening of the True Dragon secret realm, so Lin Feng planned to go to the True Dragon Ridge to find the grave of the 8th Real Dragon Emperor and pay respects to him on behalf of the True Dragon Emperor. After resting for 3 days, Lin Feng and the others set off for the True Dragon Ridge. Because it was a long way, they took the transmission formation. After flying for 2 months in the transmission formation, they arrived at the True Dragon Ancient City, which was close to the True Dragon Ridge. It was said that the 8th real Dragon Emperor was born in the True Dragon Ancient City. After a long time, the True Dragon Ancient City was still very prosperous and lively. It was one of the most prosperous ancient cities in the dragon world and had been blessed by the 9th real Dragon Emperor. Therefore, the True Dragon City was equivalent to one of the holy lands in the dragon world. In the True Dragon City, even the practitioners of the 5 alliances would behave themselves. Even if they had great hatred, they would not be too presumptuous in the True Dragon City. After arriving at the True Dragon City, Lin Feng and the others found a place to rest. After a good rest in the inn, Lin Feng went to inquire about the tomb of the 8th True Dragon Emperor. After looking around, Lin Feng realized that this place was indeed rumored to be the tomb of the 8th True Dragon Emperor. However, no one knew the exact location. Every year, many experts would come to this place to search for the grave of the 8th True Dragon Supreme Emperor. But after so many years, no one had been able to find the tomb of the 8th True Dragon Great Emperor. However, this situation was quite normal. After all, the 8th True Dragon Emperor would not want to be disturbed after his death. Therefore, the burial ground must be hidden in an extremely secluded place. It was not an easy task to find them. Time passed quickly. Since they didn't get any specific information, Lin Feng wanted to go out and search in a few days to see if he could find any clues. Back then, the 9 sons of the True Dragon did not know the exact location of the tomb because when they were suppressed, the 8th True Dragon Emperor had not yet fallen. The news of their father's death, they only heard about it later. If the 9 sons of the True Dragon knew the exact location, it would save Lin Feng a lot of trouble. After coming out of the shop, a voice suddenly sounded. "Lin Feng, is that you?" When Lin Feng heard the familiar voice, he turned around and saw a handsome young man looking at him. The young man was pleasantly surprised. After seeing the young man, Lin Feng's face lit up. The young man was actually Long Shiyu. He had not seen him for many years, but he had never forgotten his friend. If not for Long Shiyu back then, it was very likely that he had already fallen. Then Long Shiyu left. After that, Lin Feng had not seen him again. He did not expect to see Long Shiyu here. This made Lin Feng very happy. It turned out that Long Shiyu was a dragon cultivator. Before that, Lin Feng didn't know about it. Back then, Lin Feng's cultivation was not particularly strong, so Lin Feng could not sense Long Shiyu's dragon bloodline. Now, he could obviously sense the dragon bloodline in Long Shiyu's body. Long Shiyu's dragon bloodline was very powerful, but he did not know which branch he belonged to. Lin Feng did not know. Lin Feng quickly walked over to Long Shiyu. Long Shiyu also quickly walked over to Lin Feng. The two of them gave each other a big bear hug. Long Shiyu looked at Lin Feng and said, "Brother, we haven't seen each other in so many years. I really did not expect to see you here." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I did not expect to see you here either. Back then, you left in a hurry. I tried to find out more about you, but there was no news. Fortunately, we brothers have been reunited." Long Shiyu smiled and nodded. He then asked, "Why have you come to the Dragon Realm?" Lin Feng said, "It's a long story. Why don't we find a place to eat and chat? What do you think?" Long Shiyu nodded and said, "No problem. Come with me." Lin Feng and the others followed Long Shiyu to a rather luxurious restaurant. The owner of this restaurant was a woman. Moreover, she was a woman with outstanding looks. Long Shiyu introduced the woman to Lin Feng. Her name was Shangguan Chaner. She was Long Shiyu's fiancée, which surprised Lin Feng. He had not expected Long Shiyu to already have a fiancée. Long Shiyu then introduced Lin Feng to Shangguan Chaner. The two sides could be considered to have gotten to know each other. After exchanging a few words, Shangguan Chaner brought everyone to a private room. Soon, the dishes were served. Everyone ate and chatted. Lin Feng and Long Shiyu talked about many things that had happened in the past few years. Lin Feng also asked about Long Shiyu's background. Long Shiyu was a cultivator from the Sacred Dragon Tribe. This surprised Lin Feng. The Sacred Dragon Tribe had an extremely high status in the Dragon Tribe. They could be compared to the Divine Dragon Tribe and the Heavenly Dragon Tribe. Chapter 5749. Long Shiyu was the third son of the current Ancient Dragon Clan's patriarch. He was also the youngest son of the Ancient Dragon Clan's patriarch. However, he was born of a concubine because his mother was only a concubine. It was said that when his father was traveling outside, he encountered danger. In order to save his father, his mother died tragically. At that time, his father also suffered extremely serious injuries and was chased by his enemies. He could only let one of his guards escape with the young Long Shiyu. In the end, they came to the Tianwu continent. Long Shiyu spent 20 years in the Tianwu continent. When Long Shiyu grew up, his father had already returned to the Dragon World and held the power of the Ancient Dragon Clan. Therefore, he sent someone to pick up Long Shiyu. In the blink of an eye, more than 200 years had passed. Perhaps it was because of the tragic death of Long Shiyu's mother. Long Shiyu's father doted on Long Shiyu very much. Although Long Shiyu was only born of a concubine, his status in the Ancient Dragon Clan was very high. As for Long Shiyu's fiancée, her background was also not simple. Because his fiancée's grandfather was said to be a super rogue cultivator in the Dragon World. He was very powerful. The two of them hit it off at a gathering. After that, they tried to date for a period of time and felt that they were very suitable for each other, so they set up a marriage contract. However, they were still young, so they did not hold a wedding for the time being. Long Shiyu's strength had also grown very quickly these years. Now, his cultivation was already at the Saint Immortal realm. Then, the two of them talked about Lin Feng's purpose in coming to the Dragon World. Long Shiyu was Lin Feng's good brother, so Lin Feng did not intend to hide it from Long Shiyu. Therefore, Lin Feng told Long Shiyu his purpose in coming to the Dragon World. When Long Shiyu heard that Lin Feng had obtained the True Dragon Token, he was immediately shocked. If Lin Feng had the True Dragon Token, then everything seemed to be logical. Lin Feng was thinking about subduing the Ancient Dragon Clan. Of course, there was no harm in saying it in another way. In other words, it was about cooperating with the Ancient Dragon Clan. This was an extremely important matter for Lin Feng. Because the Ancient Dragon Clan was very powerful and had a very wide network, the Ancient Dragon Clan was now a neutral force. Various forces were trying to rope in the Ancient Dragon Clan. However, the Ancient Dragon Clan did not intend to submit to any side. The Ancient Dragon Clan was indeed powerful. Very few people dared to fall out with the Ancient Dragon Clan. Therefore, even though the Ancient Dragon Clan had no intention of pledging allegiance to any faction, no faction dared to provoke them. After asking some questions, Lin Feng learned that the Ancient Dragon Clan had a cultivator who had surpassed the cultivation level. This quasi-transcendent level expert was an expert that had existed since the immemorial era. 200 years broken the divine stone. Over the years, he had been searching for the possibility of transcendence, but it was not an easy thing to accomplish. So, he surnamed Suri, dragon, surname surpassing Sur's god, he surpassing dragon Sura, emperors emperors's emperor 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 emperor, emperors was, long serene god. Therefore, he knew some information that others might not know. Long Shiyu told Lin Feng everything he knew. He had indeed obtained a lot of useful information from Long Shiyu. For example, there were a few places that were suspected to be the tomb of the 8th true dragon emperor. They even started digging. Ancient tombs were found in some places. In some places, no ancient tombs were found. However, there were no remains of the true dragon emperor in the places where the ancient tombs were found. Therefore, they could not be sure if it was the tomb of the 8th true dragon emperor. This information was very useful to Lin Feng. Lin Feng planned to find time to visit a few places. Perhaps he could find some important clues. Lin Feng and Long Shiyu talked about cooperating with the Ancient Dragon Clan. Long Shiyu also knew that it was not easy for Lin Feng to control the entire Dragon World. If he could get the support of the Ancient Dragon Clan, Lin Feng would be like a tiger that had grown wings. Long Shiyu said, "I can introduce my father to you. When the time comes, you can have a good talk." Hearing Long Shiyu's words, Lin Feng immediately nodded. With Long Shiyu's introduction, many things would be simple. Long Shiyu invited Lin Feng and the others to stay at the Ancient Dragon Clan. Lin Feng did not stand on ceremony with Long Shiyu. They did not return to the inn they had booked earlier. Instead, they followed Long Shiyu to the ancient dragon clan. The ancient dragon clan had a mansion that covered an area of tens of thousands of acres in True Dragon City. Most of the ancient dragon clan lived here. However, this was not the ancestral land of the ancient dragon clan. Where was the ancestral land of the ancient dragon clan? Lin Feng did not know. Lin Feng and the others followed Long Shiyu to the residence of the ancient dragon clan. As soon as they entered the mansion, they saw a group of people coming out. They were all cultivators of the ancient dragon clan. The nightlife was about to begin. These people were probably going to have fun. The leader of the group was a young-looking ancient dragon clan cultivator. Third brother, who are these people? The leader of the group asked. My friends, Long Shiyu said indifferently. Your friends? Friends of the human race? Remember your identity. Your every move, and even the identity of your friends, represent the dignity of the ancient dragon clan. So, don't associate with those lowly cultivators. If word gets out, it will damage the reputation of the ancient dragon clan. The leader of the group said, F***CK, what are you talking about? Duzu glanced at the person who spoke. This person was called Long Shiyan. He was Long Shiyan's elder brother. Of course, he was the son of the main wife. He had always been against Long Shiyu. This was mainly because Long Shiyu's talent and perception were very strong. If Long Shiyu was not the son of a concubine, it was hard to say who would be the first successor of the clan leader in the future. Jealousy. This made Long Shiyan dislike Long Shiyu. In fact, Long Shiyan's talent was also very strong because he had cultivated to the Saint Immortal realm. However, Long Shiyan had cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Long Shiyu had cultivated for more than 200 years. His talent was strong. However, compared to Long Shiyu, there was still a big gap. You're a servant, right? How can a servant be so unruly? Long Shiyan looked mockingly at the poison ancestor. The disdain in his eyes wasn't deliberate. Instead, it was a kind of contempt and disdain that came from his bones. This infuriated the poison ancestor greatly. Long Shiyan, don't go overboard. Long Shiyu's expression turned extremely ugly. Long Shiyan's targeting of Lin Feng and the others was a slap to his face. Chapter 5750. Long Shiyan's words were indeed a little too much, which was why Long Shiyu was so angry. This was a matter of dignity. However, Long Shiyan still had a sarcastic expression on his face. This guy came from a better background and had always been used to being high and mighty. His talent was not as good as Long Shiyu's, so he could only suppress Long Shiyu in other aspects. For example, he could make Long Shiyu lose face. This would make Long Shiyan feel quite relieved. Long Shiyan said, Third brother, when did I go too far? I'm just telling the truth. I'm saying all this for your own good. Third brother, please don't be ungrateful. As soon as Long Shiyan's voice fell, Lin Feng, who was beside him, directly kicked him. With a loud bang, a loud sound was heard. Before Long Shiyan could react to what was going on, he was sent flying by Lin Feng's kick. Long Shiyan fell directly to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. This sudden turn of events caused everyone to be a little dumbfounded. Everyone had a dumbfounded expression. No one thought that something like this would happen. Long Shiyan was actually beaten up. He was the young master of the ancient dragon clan. How noble was his background. Moreover, he was sent flying by a kick in the ancient dragon clan's mansion. He was even kicked to the point of vomiting blood. One could imagine what kind of uproar this matter would cause if it was spread out. Long Shiyu could not help but smile bitterly. He knew Lin Feng well and knew that Lin Feng was a person who would not tolerate his temper. However, he did not expect Lin Feng to send Long Shiyan flying with a kick. This time, he would be in big trouble. However, no matter how things would turn out, Long Shiyu would try his best to protect Lin Feng. The rest of the people also came back to their senses. Du Zhu and the evil dominator Saint all showed a gloating smile. The other cultivators of the ancient dragon clan quickly ran towards Long Shiyan. They helped Long Shiyan up. In Long Shiyan's eyes, it was full of murderous intent. Today's matter was hard for him to accept. To him, this was an absolutely humiliating matter. He glared at Lin Feng and said, Brat, I'm going to kill you. He then waved his hand and said, "Capture that brat. I'll make sure he dies a horrible death." As soon as Long Shurian's voice fell, the remaining ancient dragon cultivators all rushed towards Lin Feng. Each of them had a ferocious look on their faces. Lin Feng replied, "Teach them a lesson." Du Zhu and the evil dominator saint rushed over after receiving Lin Feng's order. Poison Ancestor, Evil Sovereign Saint, and Evil Sovereign Saint were too powerful. However, they were already able to compete with some Saint Realm experts. How could these people be a match for Du Zhu and the Evil Dominator Saint? Du Zhu and the Heretic Dominator Saint quickly took care of the 7 to 8 opponents. The ancient dragon cultivators wailed in agony as they lay on the ground. One by one, they were almost beaten to death by Du Zhu and the Evil Dominator Saint. They were already being merciful. If it wasn't for the fact that they were giving face to the ancient dragon race, these people would have already been dead. As for Lin Feng, he was naturally not afraid of causing trouble. There was a saying that went, "The strong are bold." Lin Feng was powerful, so what if he was from the ancient dragon race? Moreover, even if he was facing an expert from the ancient dragon race who had surpassed his realm, Lin Feng was not afraid. Because even if he couldn't defeat the other party, he definitely couldn't make Lin Feng stay. You guys are really lawless. This is the ancient dragon race. Long Shurian's expression became extremely gloomy. He had indeed misjudged them before. He originally thought that Lin Feng and the others were very ordinary cultivators, but now he knew how powerful Lin Feng and the others were. But so what? This was the ancient dragon race's territory. The ancient dragon race's territory was filled with experts. There were several experts of the Saint Realm. No matter how strong Lin Feng and the others were, could they fight against the ancient dragon race? The commotion here did not escape the ancient dragon race's notice. Many ancient dragon race's cultivators sensed the commotion and rushed over. Long Shiyu looked at Lin Feng and smiled bitterly. "I'm afraid today's matter will be a little troublesome. Leave it to me later." Lin Feng smiled. "Was I a little impulsive just now?" Long Shiyu replied. "No, that guy was just asking for a beating." Lin Feng said, "Don't worry about me. Leave it to me later." But Long Shiyu frowned. He knew that this matter would be difficult to deal with. Letting him handle it was the best choice. Lin Feng said, "He's just a young cultivator from the ancient dragon race. So what if he's the clan leader's son? I believe that the upper echelons of the ancient dragon race will know what to do." When he heard Lin Feng's words, Long Shiyu could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly. He felt that the current Lin Feng was indeed different from before. He knew that Lin Feng was a very talented person, and Lin Feng was also very strong. However, he did not expect Lin Feng to become so powerful. There was a reason why he thought that Lin Feng was so powerful. Long Shurian was not a simple person. He was a saint immortal and was very strong. Even in the entire dragon realm, he could be considered a top expert. However, a powerful expert like Long Shurian had been sent flying by Lin Feng. This was easier said than done. It was impossible for an ordinary person to send Long Shurian flying with a kick. However, Lin Feng had done it. Moreover, Long Shurian did not react at all. Even Long Shiyu did not react at all. This was enough to explain a lot. Lin Feng came to the dragon realm with the true dragon token and wanted to take control of the entire dragon realm. Without enough strength, who would dare to do such a thing? After cultivating to this realm, no one was a fool. Even if some people looked arrogant on the surface, they were actually very careful. Therefore, Long Shiyu knew that Lin Feng was not to be underestimated. Perhaps Lin Feng could really have a fair conversation with the upper echelons of the ancient dragon race. At this time, the only role he could play was to act as a bridge and promote cooperation between the two sides. If Lin Feng really became the master of the dragon realm in the future, the ancient dragon race would cooperate with Lin Feng. Or rather, they would join Lin Feng. When the time came, Lin Feng would definitely put the ancient dragon race in an important position. When that time came, the ancient dragon race could even suppress the other top dragon races and become the #1 dragon race in the dragon realm. What's going on? A middle-aged cultivator asked with a gloomy face. The middle-aged cultivator was a Saint Realm expert and looked very dignified. The middle-aged cultivator was the leader of the ancient dragon race, Long Guyue. Long Shurian, Long Shiyu's father. M. Chapter 57-51. Father, you have to seek justice for me. That brat committed a crime in our ancient dragon clan. Not only did he injure me, but he also injured Long Shirkuin and the others. He doesn't put our ancient dragon clan in his eyes at all. After seeing Long Guyue arrive, Long Shiryan hurriedly complained to Long Guyue. Lin Feng revealed a mocking expression. This guy was really a flower raised in a greenhouse. Was this kind of thing worth complaining about? Didn't he find it embarrassing? After hearing Long Shiryan's words, Long Guyue fiercely glared at Long Shiryan. Obviously, Long Guyue was extremely dissatisfied with Long Shiryan's complaint. For some things, it would be fine to just tell them the whole story. There was no need to complain. Once he complained, the situation would be small. And Long Shiryan was of the younger generation that the ancient dragon clan focused on nurturing. With such a small situation, how could he lead the ancient dragon clan to glory in the future? So, as for Long Shiryan, Long Guyue was more disappointed. Long Guyue looked at Long Shiyu and said, "Third brother, what happened today? Tell me the whole story." Long Shiyu said, "Father, this is what happened. I brought a few friends back to the clan and happened to meet Big Brother. Big Brother saw that my friends were human cultivators, so he said that my friends were of low birth. He insulted my friends like this, so my friends were angry and attacked him. It's just that Big Brother doesn't have the strength, but he still did those things to humiliate others. There's a saying that goes asking for humiliation. Perhaps it's used to describe people like Big Brother." Long Shiyu was naturally not a simple person. Otherwise, his status in the ancient dragon clan wouldn't have risen so much over the years. This was because if you wanted to have a high status in a big clan like the ancient dragon clan, it was not enough to be doted on by the elders. You had to have the means, the ability, and the strength, and Long Shiyu happened to lack all three. Although his words were full of mockery and ridicule towards Long Shiryan, they were all true. It was impossible to refute. It was really killing without spilling blood. After hearing Long Shiyu's words, Long Shiryan's expression became extremely gloomy. He coldly looked at Long Shiyu and said, "Third brother, what do you mean by that? I did it all for you, for the sake of the ancient dragon clan. I advised you not to associate with such a lowly person. I had good intentions, but you spoke ill of me in front of my father. You disappoint me." Long Shiyu sneered and said, "In this world, the strong are respected. You have been beaten to this state, and you still have the nerve to talk about others? It's fine if you say such things in our family, but if you say it outside, you'll lose the face of our family." Long Shiyu's words were like a slap to his face. Furthermore, he had done so in front of so many high-ranking members of the ancient dragon tribe. Many people couldn't help but mutter. Usually, Long Shiyu was relatively low-key, but today, Long Shiyu appeared to be so high-profile, which made everyone somewhat puzzled. He didn't know why Long Shiyu suddenly became so high-profile. However, everyone felt that the reason why Long Shiyu had become so high-profile was because of Long Shiyu. Perhaps it had something to do with his friends. Because his friends had been humiliated, he was very angry. That was why he was so high-profile. Actually, their guess was not wrong. Long Shiyu was being so high-profile. First, it was because he was angry that Lin Feng and the others were being targeted. Second, Long Shiyu felt that now that Lin Feng was here, even if he didn't have any powerful backing, as long as Lin Feng was here, he would dare to compete with the power behind Long Shiryan. Long Shiryan said in a deep voice, "Third brother, you've gone too far today. Father has told us brothers to be united all these years, but you're here to target your elder brother. Have you ignored Father's teachings all these years?" Long Shiyu said indifferently, "I naturally remember Father's teachings very clearly. However, I feel that you've forgotten Father's teachings, so I need to remind you so that you don't go astray. If that happens, not only will you harm yourself, but also the entire ancient dragon tribe." Long Shiryan was so angry that his whole body trembled. His face was extremely gloomy. He looked at Long Guyue. He was still thinking about what to say. Long Guyue said, "All right, you can leave for now." Seeing his father's ugly expression, Long Shiryan quickly shut his mouth, not daring to say anything else. Long Guyue looked at Lin Feng and said in a deep voice, "You're Yu Er's friend?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's right. I'm from the Nine States Great World." Long Guyue was shocked because he knew how extraordinary the Nine States Great World was. Any cultivator who came from the Nine States Great World, they were different from the cultivators of other worlds. Since ancient times, the Nine States Great World had been in an extremely special position. Perhaps it was because of this special position. It made the cultivators of the Nine States Great World stand out from the masses. Lin Feng gave him the impression that he was different from others. After all, he was able to beat Long Shiyan so badly. From this, one could see how powerful Lin Feng's cultivation was. There was a saying that heroes came from the young. This was especially true in the current era, which had become a golden age for cultivation. All kinds of opportunities were emerging one after another. This was the final frenzy before the Armageddon War. Many people would ride the wind and break through the waves, defying the heavens. Perhaps Lin Feng was such a person. Long Shiyu said, "Father, Lin Feng is my sworn brother in the great world of the 9 provinces. He came to see me, and he also wants to talk to you about something." "Oh, he wants to talk to me about something?" Long Guyue gave Lin Feng a deep look. He nodded and said, "Come with me." Lin Feng, Long Shiyu, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint followed Long Guyue inside. And this matter ended in such a dramatic way. Obviously, Long Shiyan and the others could only suffer in silence. Long Shiyan's fists were tightly clenched together. He naturally knew that his father was obviously biased towards Long Shiyu in this matter. Otherwise, how could he not deal with Lin Feng? So, right now, Long Shiyan was extremely angry and aggrieved. At the same time, he was extremely jealous. Long Shiyan's expression was unsettled. He did not continue to stay. Instead, he quickly walked towards the backyard where his mother lived. The surrounding ancient dragon clan cultivators began to discuss spiritedly, because from today's events, they discovered that the clan leader's attitude towards his 2 sons had undergone a great change. Perhaps the structure of the ancient dragon clan would change. End of chapter. Chapter 57-52. There was a mistake at the beginning. Long Shiyu was from the sacred dragon tribe, not the ancient dragon tribe. Some parts had been written as the ancient dragon tribe, but that had been corrected. Everyone arrived at the guest hall and took their seats. A maidservant served Lin Feng and the others some spirit tea. After everyone took a sip, Long Guyue smiled and asked, "May I know what you wish to discuss with me, young friend Lin?" Lin Feng said, "I've brought hope to the sacred dragon tribe." "What hope?" Long Guyue's face immediately revealed a puzzled expression. Lin Feng said, "The hope of making the sacred dragon tribe the #1 tribe in the dragon realm." Long Guyue was slightly taken aback when he heard Lin Feng's words. He could not help but shake his head. Lin Feng's words were indeed hard to believe. After all, Lin Feng was a human cultivator. Yet he had said that he could make the sacred dragon tribe the #1 tribe in the dragon realm. How was that possible? In fact, the sacred dragon tribe had been extremely powerful in the past. They had even ruled the dragon realm for a time. But in the end, the sacred dragon tribe had declined. Their former glory had long since ceased to exist. The current sacred dragon tribe could not be compared to the 5 great dragon tribes. Of course, it was not to say that the sacred dragon tribe's bloodline was inferior to theirs. In fact, the sacred dragon tribe's bloodline was not weaker than theirs. The main reason was that their foundation could not compare to the 5 great dragon tribes. Said Lin Feng, "I know that you don't believe me when I tell you that, but it will definitely become a reality," said Lin Feng. Long Guyue asked, "How are you going to make this a reality?" Lin Feng said, "Uncle, do you know who I am?" Long Guyue's face immediately revealed a puzzled expression. He did not know what Lin Feng meant by this. He asked, "Aren't you Yu Er's friend?" Lin Feng replied, "That's right. I'm Long Shiyu's friend, but I have other identities. For example, I'm the ruler of the 9 provinces' great world." Truth be told, there was nothing wrong with Lin Feng's words. At any rate, the most powerful force in 9 provinces' world was Lin Feng's army of cultivators. More than half of 9 provinces' world was under Lin Feng's control. It was reasonable to say that Lin Feng was the lord of the 9 prefectures world. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Long Guyue was shocked. Lin Feng was the overlord of the 9 provinces world. This matter was truly inconceivable to him. Lin Feng then continued, "Not only am I the ruler of the 9 continents' great world, but I'm also the ruler of the undying realm." What? Are you also the master of the undying world? This time, Long Guyue could no longer remain calm. The 9 continents world was now in decline. If Lin Feng was really the master of the 9 continents world, then he would be the master of the 9 continents world. It could really be true. However, if Lin Feng was the master of the undying realm, that would be too inconceivable. After all, the undying realm was a half-higher plane, a plane that was even more powerful than the dragon realm. Moreover, there were many experts there. Although the current undying realm was not as strong as before, it was definitely not to be underestimated. Although Lin Feng was extremely extraordinary, it was impossible for him to become the master of the undying realm, right? Even Long Shiyu could not help but reveal an extremely shocked expression. However, Long Shiyu did not doubt Lin Feng's words at all. He had never doubted Lin Feng. It was just that Long Shiyu did not know what had happened in the past few years that had turned Lin Feng into such an extraordinary person. Long Shiyu asked, "Lin Feng, how did you become the master of the undying realm?" Lin Feng then told him about the turmoil that had happened in the undying realm in the past few years, including the final battle with the heavenly court, killing the celestial emperor. He told them about how he had taken control of the heavenly court. If he were to really talk about these things, he would not be able to finish talking even if he talked about it for many days. Therefore, Lin Feng only picked the important points and summarized them in a few sentences. However, even if Lin Feng described it very simply, they could feel how shocking the whole process was. Lin Feng was able to control the undying realm and form such a powerful cultivator army. It was clear how terrifying Lin Feng's ability was. Even Long Guyue had to reevaluate Lin Feng at this moment. Such a heaven-defying figure had come to their sacred dragon tribe and told them that he could make the sacred dragon tribe the #1 tribe in the dragon realm in the future. If it was just an ordinary young man who had said such words, Long Guyue would naturally laugh it off and not believe it at all. But Lin Feng was the one who had said those words. Lin Feng was the one who had said those words, so it was worth thinking about, because he felt that a person like Lin Feng would definitely not speak without thinking. Long Guyue asked, "Just now, you said that you could make our sacred dragon tribe the #1 force in the dragon realm in the future. I want to hear your plan." Lin Feng took out the true dragon token. When he saw the true dragon token, Long Guyue suddenly stood up. His face was filled with disbelief. Although he had never seen the real true dragon token before, he had seen the image of the true dragon token before. So when he saw the true dragon token, he was extremely shocked. He never thought that Lin Feng would actually control the true dragon token, and the words left behind by the 9th generation true dragon emperor. Whoever could control the true dragon token could become the lord of the dragon realm. All these years, the 5 great forces had been fighting to the death. They wanted to become the lord of the dragon realm, but no one could successfully control the dragon realm. It was because they lacked the true dragon token, and Lin Feng had brought the true dragon token. In other words, Lin Feng was already the lord of the dragon realm in name. Lin Feng said, "I believe Uncle has heard of the rumors about the true dragon token. Now that I have the true dragon token, I am the lord of the dragon realm. It's just that the dragon realm is very chaotic right now. It won't be easy for me to take control of the dragon realm. However, it's only a matter of time for me. When I break through to the next realm, even experts who surpass my realm will be completely suppressed by me. At that time, it will be the time for me to unify the dragon realm. Long Shiyu and I are life and death brothers, and now that the sacred dragon tribe needs an opportunity to rise again and become the top race, I will provide the sacred dragon tribe with such an opportunity. If the sacred dragon tribe chooses to cooperate with me, the sacred dragon tribe status will definitely rise." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Long Guyue's heart was extremely unsettled, because he really felt that this might be a huge turning point for the sacred dragon tribe to rise again. If he could seize this opportunity, the sacred dragon tribe would very likely be able to recreate the glory of his ancestors. Chapter 57-54. Long Gyue looked at Lin Feng and said, "This matter is of great importance, and I can't make the decision alone. After all, although I'm the patriarch of the Sacred Dragon Tribe, there are still a few Sage Realm experts in the tribe, and one of them is a quasi-transcendence expert. I need to communicate with them about this matter." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Of course, that's not a problem. Where are those experts?" Long Gyue said, "They are currently in the ancestral land of the Sacred Dragon Tribe. I'll send someone to invite them over, but the ancestral land of the Sacred Dragon Tribe is quite a distance from here. It will take some time for them to arrive." "No problem." Lin Feng nodded. "Lin Gongzi, wait for my news," Long Gyue said. Lin Feng nodded. Long Gyue's attitude pleased him. From the looks of it, Long Gyue had already made up his mind to cooperate with him. Long Gyue was not only a Sage Realm expert, but also the patriarch of the Sacred Dragon Tribe. His status in the Sacred Dragon Tribe was even higher than those Sage Realm experts. In the Sacred Dragon Tribe, perhaps only an expert who had transcended cultivation level could suppress him. The remaining people's status could not surpass his. It was because of this. He could decide many things. As long as he wanted to facilitate the cooperation between the two sides, there was a high chance of success. Both sides chatted for a while. Lin Feng and the others left. After Lin Feng and the others left, Long Gyue found his trusted aides and asked them to gather some information about the undying world. After all, he could not completely trust Lin Feng's words. However, deep in his heart, he believed 90% of Lin Feng's words. After his trusted aides confirmed what Lin Feng said, he believed that he could persuade the quasi-transcendence expert and the other Sage Realm experts to agree to this cooperation. At this time, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil sovereign saint followed Long Shiyu to his residence. The Sacred Dragon Tribe naturally had many courtyards for guests to stay in. However, Long Shiyu didn't arrange for Lin Feng and the others to stay in the guest quarters. Instead, he brought Lin Feng and the others to his own courtyard. This was exactly what Lin Feng wanted. Meanwhile, Long Shurian was discussing the day's events with his mother. Long Shurian's mother's background was not ordinary. His mother came from the demonic dragon clan. The monster dragon clan was an extremely powerful clan of the dragon clan. It was also one of the top races of the dragon clan. This clan, he had always been mysterious. He rarely paid attention to the matters of the outside world. However, everyone knew how powerful this race was. The monstrous dragon race had an important position in the dragon race, mainly because the monstrous dragon race had a strong foundation. It was said that there were 7 or 8 Saint Realm experts, and there were 2 Transcendental Realm experts. This was too frightening. Long Shurian's mother was the descendant of a Transcendental Realm expert of the monstrous dragon clan. Therefore, Long Shurian's mother's status in the monstrous dragon clan was very high. Long Shurian said in a deep voice, "Mother, although I don't know who that young human cultivator is or where he came from, he's obviously not simple. He's very strong." His arrival seems to have boosted Long Shiyu's confidence. It's very likely that he's supporting Long Shiyu from behind. That's why Long Shiyu is so confident that he even wants to arm wrestle with me. Long Shurian's mother sneered and said, "He's just a concubine's son. He doesn't have any power. What qualifications does he have to arm wrestle with you? And so what if that brat is supporting Long Shiyu? After all, he's an outsider. You don't have to worry about that." Long Shurian said, "Mother, there's one thing you shouldn't forget. Father has always been biased towards Long Shiyu." Long Shurian's mother naturally knew that. In fact, she was extremely angry because Long Shurian was the legitimate son, and Long Shiyu was just a concubine's son. Why was he biased towards Long Shiyu? Was it because Long Shiyu's mother had died a tragic death that year? Was that why he was biased towards Long Shiyu? In fact, they also knew that there was another important reason. Long Shiyu was too outstanding. Whether it was talent, character, or the way he handled things, he was too outstanding. He surpassed Long Shurian by too much. Long Shurian, on the other hand, was more of a hedonistic son. However, neither Long Shurian nor his mother would admit to this. No one would admit that they were incapable. No parent would admit that their child was incapable. Long Shurian was jealous of Long Shiyu. He would never admit that he was inferior to Long Shiyu. Long Shurian's mother would never admit that her son was inferior to Long Shiyu. It's not that easy for Long Shiyu to jump around like that. However, he has your father's protection. It's not easy to touch him. Then let's touch the people around him. Think of a way to kill that human cultivator. This can also be considered as a warning to Long Shiyu not to jump around like that. Long Shurian's mother sneered. She was not a simple woman. She had a lot of tricks up her sleeves. And she was ruthless. We need at least a Saint Realm expert to kill that brat, Long Shurian said. His eyes were full of killing intent. When he thought of how Lin Feng had kicked him and made him spit out blood, Long Shurian felt like gnashing his teeth. He wished he could cut Lin Feng into 10,000 pieces. Then I'll write a letter and invite a saint from my family to kill him, said Lin Feng. Long Shurian's mother said. In fact, she wanted to deal with Lin Feng not only to warn Long Shiyu. There was another very important reason. A cultivator as young as Lin Feng. His cultivation was actually so powerful. Lin Feng might have many unimaginable secrets on him. If they killed Lin Feng, they would be able to obtain these secrets. Sometimes, killing a top-notch Heaven's Chosen One was equivalent to obtaining several great opportunities. Therefore, in the world of cultivators, there was no lack of top experts who liked to hunt down the top geniuses. This was because the benefits of killing those top geniuses were too great. That's great. Long Shurian immediately revealed a happy expression. When he thought of the scene where Lin Feng was about to be killed, he immediately trembled with excitement. Long Shurian's mother said, during this period of time, you should be more obedient. Also, don't provoke Long Shiyu. Also, don't have any conflicts with that human brat. Long Shurian nodded and said, no problem. After that human brat dies, I want to see how that little bastard Long Shiyu can still jump around. Chapter 57-55. Lin Feng was naturally unaware of Long Shurian and his mother's sinister plan. After arriving at his residence, he chatted with Long Shiyu for a while before returning to rest. Next, Lin Feng planned to head to the ruins mentioned by Long Shiyu. He wanted to see if he could find any clues about the tomb of the 8th true Dragon Emperor. After all, it would take some time for the experts of the sacred dragon tribe to arrive. Lin Feng could make use of this time. The next day, Lin Feng told Long Shiyu about this matter. Long Shiyu happened to have nothing to do, so he led Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint to the ruins. The true Dragon Ridge was very large, spanning hundreds of kilometers. There were many resources in this place. There were even people who had mined divine stones here. About 3 years ago, it was said that someone had dug out a special divine stone here. Sealed within the God's Stone was a broken ancient weapon. This matter caused a huge uproar. In recent years, more and more cultivators had entered the true Dragon Ridge to search for divine stones. Not to mention the ancient weapon obtained from the divine stone. But if they could mine something else, they might be able to make a fortune. There were too many people with this idea. However, this place was also dangerous. Some places had powerful restrictions. If one was not careful, they might die under the attacks of the restrictions. Some places had powerful fierce beasts. So sometimes, one had to be on guard against all kinds of dangers. Otherwise, it was very likely that one would die here. Lin Feng and the others also arrived at the first ruin. There was no ancient tomb here. Lin Feng did not find any special clues here. Then, he followed Long Shiyu to a few other places. Some of the other places had ancient tombs, but they had all been mined. The places where the ancient tombs were found might really be related to the True Dragon tribe. This was because there were many True Dragon tribe characters in those ancient tombs. This piqued Lin Feng's interest. After looking at all the places, Long Shiyu looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Do you have any clues?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "Burial grounds are often more particular, especially some large tombs. Not only do they have a main chamber, but they also have some side chambers. The tombs in front of us all have the characters of the Dragon Clan. There are so many characters of the Dragon Clan in these places, which means that these tombs are probably related to the Dragon Clan. This place is rumored to be the burial place of the 8th true Dragon Emperor, so it's easy to imagine. Of course, ordinary people might not know much about tombs, so they would not be able to discover these special places. But Lin Feng was different. Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Liang had known each other for such a long time. Lin Feng heard a lot about the burial grounds from Taoist Wu Liang. Therefore, Lin Feng had some understanding of the layout of some burial grounds. It was just as Lin Feng had said. Lin Feng had the impression that those tombs were actually some of the smaller chambers of the tombs. Since he could find a side chamber, then the burial place of the 8th true Dragon Emperor was very likely nearby. But how to find it? Where exactly was it buried? That was not clear. This was because the burial ground might not be buried underground. It might be in a certain space. It was not difficult to build a small space and turn it into a burial ground. And this space might be hidden in a small amount of sand. And if the burial ground was inside, it would be very difficult to find. This was also one of the reasons why it was so difficult to find the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor. Of course, it was also possible that the burial ground was buried underground. However, because the 8th true Dragon Emperor was too powerful, his burial ground might have formed a relatively strong magnetic field. When such a strong magnetic field was formed, it would change the surrounding laws of heaven and earth. And the magnetic field had a great effect on cultivators. Even if some cultivators could reach the outside of the burial ground, they would be disturbed by the magnetic field. It was very likely that they would form some illusions. When this illusion was formed, even if the burial ground was right in front of their eyes, it was also possible that they could not see the burial ground. Lin Feng continued to investigate the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor, but he was unable to find any clues. Thus, Lin Feng stopped to think. He felt that perhaps he still needed to find some clues from these side chambers. Thus, Lin Feng once again went to a few side chambers. So far, he had discovered a total of 4 side chambers. Lin Feng searched carefully for a long time. He had indeed found some shocking clues from the 4 side chambers. He found the 5 elemental spirit stones in the 4 side chambers. For example, part of the rocks used to build the burial ground were made of 5-element spirit stones. These side chambers actually followed the rules of the 5-element cycle. The 5-element cycle was the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Lin Feng discovered. Right now, the 4 side chambers belong to the 4 elements of metal, wood, water, and fire. The only missing chamber was the earth element side chamber. If he could find the 5th tomb chamber, he would be able to find it. Then, perhaps he could use these 5 side chambers as clues and deduce the location of the 8th true Dragon Emperor's burial ground. Thus, Lin Feng began to search for the 5th side chamber. While he was searching for this side chamber, in fact, many people were also searching for the true Dragon Emperor's burial ground. Although all these years, no one had been able to find the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor. But these people had not given up. About 3 days later, Lin Feng heard a piece of news that someone had found an ancient burial ground. Some people suspected that the burial ground was the true Dragon Emperor's burial ground. After hearing this news, Lin Feng and the others quickly rushed to that place. When they arrived at this place, a large number of cultivators had already gathered here. That place was in a huge mountain range. Lin Feng felt that the earth element aura here was extremely tyrannical. Lin Feng's face immediately revealed a shocked expression. Such a powerful earth element aura. This meant that this place should be the 5th side chamber. If they could open this side chamber, they would be able to form the 5-element cycle. But now, the burial ground had not been opened yet, because this place contained an extremely powerful formation restriction. Previously, someone had tried to attack the formation restriction here, but suffered heavy losses. Thus, everyone withdrew and did not dare to continue attacking the formation restriction here. Instead, they waited for the formation restriction here to dissipate. Then they entered the burial ground. End of this chapter. Chapter 57-56. While everyone was waiting, a cultivator quickly flew over from afar. The cultivator was wearing a loose black robe and a bamboo hat on his head, so no one could see what he looked like. He was also a Dragon Clan cultivator, but Imo Wuji didn't know which Dragon Clan he belonged to. After the cultivator arrived here, he quickly flew over. They quickly flew towards the area covered by the formation. After seeing this scene, Many people sneered. Previously, everyone had attacked the formation here and suffered heavy losses. They knew how powerful the restrictive formation here was. Therefore, when they saw that the cultivator seemed to want to break through the formation here, they were all shocked. Everyone naturally thought that he was indulging in fantasy. But when he came to the side of the formation, something shocking happened. Those powerful formations and restrictions were actually unable to cause any harm to him. Everyone was shocked at this point. He quickly rushed into the array formation. Then, he disappeared without a trace. This caused many people in the surroundings to be extremely anxious. Because this cultivator had rushed into the formation, wouldn't he be able to take away all the opportunities? Many people were waiting here to get the opportunities inside. Now that they saw that the opportunities inside were about to be taken away by someone else, they were naturally very anxious. Lin Feng, on the other hand, looked calm. This was because Lin Feng didn't want the opportunities here from the beginning. He was only looking for the burial place of the 8th true Dragon Emperor. Then, he would pay respects to the 8th true Dragon Emperor on behalf of the 9 true Dragon Sons. Other than that, Lin Feng didn't have any other thoughts. Of course, it would be better if he could get some opportunities. If he couldn't, Lin Feng also didn't care. However, the others couldn't do the same. They were all filled with killing intent. The world was bustling, and everyone was here for benefits. Of course, they wouldn't easily let go of the cultivator who had obtained the opportunities. However, they couldn't enter now, so they could only wait outside. After about a day, the cultivator finally flew out. As soon as he flew out, he was surrounded by many people. What did you get in there? Hurry up and hand over what you got, or you'll die. Someone said coldly. The cultivator didn't hand over what he got. He glanced coldly at the surrounding cultivators, then began to break out of the encirclement. Since he wants to die, we'll fulfill his wish, a cultivator said coldly. Then, a large group of cultivators surrounded the cultivator and began to attack him. The group of people used all kinds of attacks. For example, some people used divine ability attacks, while others took out powerful magic treasures. All sorts of attacks were launched at the cultivator. However, at this moment, the cultivator took out a powerful treasure. The treasure he took out was a metal ball-like treasure. The metal ball-like treasure was engraved with many dragon patterns. The dragon patterns were vivid and lifelike, just like real dragons. When the treasure was activated, it immediately let out a series of dragon roars. Then, the treasure manifested one true dragon after another. A total of 9 true dragons appeared. 9 true dragons bared their fangs and brandished their claws. Then, they pounced on the surrounding cultivators. After seeing this scene, many people's faces suddenly changed. What kind of magic treasure is this? It's actually so powerful? They wanted to dodge, but they had already dodged. The 9 true dragons killed many of the cultivators. Then, the mysterious cultivator took the opportunity to break out of the encirclement. He quickly disappeared into the forest. Chase! Many cultivators roared in exasperation. They quickly chased after the escaping cultivator. Most of them chased after the escaping cultivator. There were still some people who didn't leave. Those who didn't leave felt that there was something else in the burial ground. They wanted to stay and wait for the formation to completely disperse before entering the burial ground. It was unknown whether or not it was because the cultivator had entered the tomb, but the restrictive arrays around the tomb quickly dissipated. It only took a little more than an hour. Then, the array formation here completely dissipated. After the restrictions on the array formation dissipated, the cultivators waiting outside quickly rushed into the depths of the tomb. Lin Feng, Long Shiyu, Du Zhu, and the heretical sovereign saint also quickly rushed into the burial ground. The entrance to the burial ground was a huge cave. After everyone entered the cave, they went straight into the depths. In the deepest part of the cave, there was a huge mountain belly. The mountain belly should be the burial ground. Lin Feng found that this place was indeed an earth attribute burial ground. In this way, they had found the 5 main burial chambers of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. After finding the 5 main burial chambers of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, Lin Feng's face revealed a trace of a smile. He carefully studied this earth-attributed side tomb. and then the locations of the other four side tombs appeared in his mind. He deduced. Lin Feng felt that the place where the 5 chambers met should be where the main burial chamber was. After thinking up to this point, Lin Feng, Long Shiyu, Du Zhu, and the heretical sovereign saint hurriedly left the burial chamber. After coming out, Long Shiyu looked at Lin Feng and asked curiously, "Did you find anything special?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "Perhaps I found the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Long Shiyu's face revealed an extremely shocked expression. So many people had searched for so many years without finding anything. In such a short time, Lin Feng had very likely found the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor. It was truly a shocking thing. Lin Feng floated in the air and looked in the direction of the 5 side burial chambers. Then, an image appeared in his mind. In Lin Feng's mind, 5 side burial chambers appeared. These 5 side burial chambers were located in 5 different directions. Each of the 5 side burial chambers emitted a beam of light that gathered in one place. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He roughly determined the location, then quickly flew in that direction. Long Shiyu, Du Zhu, and the heretical sovereign saint followed Lin Feng and quickly flew in that direction. Chapter 57:57. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the place Lin Feng had predicted. It was actually a gigantic lake. From afar, the lake was filled with draconic qi. It exuded a terrifying aura of coercion. After carefully observing the lake for a moment, Qian Feng saw that there were also some cultivators looking at the lake. After seeing the lake, Long Shiyu's face suddenly showed a surprised expression. "Lin Feng, is the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Great Emperor here?" Lin Feng nodded. "Is there a problem?" Long Shiyu said, "This lake is called the Cloud Dragon Lake. It's said that it's a cursed lake. Once a cultivator enters it, it's very likely that they'll be cursed. If they're cursed, it'll be very terrifying." In the past, there were still people who went in to explore, but they didn't find anything. Not only did they not find anything, but they also encountered calamities. The dangers of Cloud Dragon Lake gradually became known, and now very few people enter it. After hearing Long Shiyu's words, Lin Feng realized that the lake was not simple. Such a dangerous lake naturally had to be treated with caution. Lin Feng said, "How about this? You guys wait for me outside. I'll go in and take a look myself." Long Shiyu said, "How can that be? Let's go in together. If we encounter any danger, we can take care of each other." "That's right. Let's go in together." Du Zhu, the evil Dominator Saint, and the evil Dominator Saint all agreed. Seeing that they were insistent, Lin Feng said, "All right, let's go in together and take a look." Following that, they flew towards Cloud Dragon Lake. This place was indeed a little strange, and Lin Feng felt that Cloud Dragon Lake was too quiet. Such a huge lake would usually have huge waves. However, there were no waves in this place. There were no fish either. It was so quiet that it was hard to believe. This was very difficult to understand. Why would something like this happen? However, this was the real situation in front of their eyes. It was precisely because it was so strange that they had to be even more cautious. There could be some terrifying unknown situations here. He had to be extremely alert. Lin Feng had been trying to locate the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Supreme Emperor. However, it would not be easy to quickly find the burial ground of the 8th true Dragon Emperor in such a large lake. This was not something that could be rushed. Fortunately, Lin Feng's methods were extraordinary. After searching for a few hours in the lake, Lin Feng found some suspicious places. They entered the bottom of the lake and saw a huge abyss at the bottom of the lake. It was an abyss at the bottom of the lake. Around the abyss, there were many terrifying ultimate killing formations. This place also exuded a chilling and terrifying aura. After feeling this chilling aura, Lin Feng couldn't help but slightly frown. There seemed to be something hidden in this place. If I'm not wrong, the 8th true Dragon Emperor's tomb might be at the bottom of this abyss. Lin Feng said. Long Shiyu said excitedly, "I wonder if we'll be able to find some opportunities here. It would be great if we could find some." He was from the dragon race, so he naturally cared about the opportunities in the true Dragon Supreme Emperor's tomb. Lin Feng said, "Let's hope we can find some opportunities." Then, Lin Feng led Long Shiyu forward. Du Zhu, the evil sovereign saint, and the others walked inside. Although the formations and restrictions here were terrifying, they were not difficult for Lin Feng. Lin Feng led everyone through the layers of restrictions. They arrived at the entrance of the abyss. Originally, Lin Feng thought that they might encounter some danger. After all, he felt that there might be some terrifying existences hibernating in this place. However, Lin Feng did not expect that they would reach this place so smoothly. This made him extremely surprised. "We can't stay here for long. Let's go down quickly. The sooner we finish, the sooner we can leave," Lin Feng said. The other three nodded, and then everyone quickly flew towards the bottom of the abyss. They quickly traversed through the abyss. When they were about halfway through the abyss, Du Zhu's body suddenly exploded. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's expression changed greatly. Long Shiyu and the evil sovereign saint's expressions also changed. This was something that no one expected. However, although Du Zhu's body exploded, he did not die. This was because Du Zhu's body was condensed from 10,000 poisons. Therefore, even if his body exploded, as long as there was a trace of poison gas that was not eliminated, then Du Zhu would be in immortal existence. Just now, clearly, some unknown existence had launched an attack on Du Zhu. Now, Du Zhu's cultivation was enough to compete with some Saint Realm experts. Even with such a powerful cultivation, he did not notice anything. This was the most worrisome part. Lin Feng and the others did not know what was hiding in the dark. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and released his powerful magic power. It wrapped around Long Shiyu, the evil sovereign saint, and a part of Du Zhu's body. Then, they quickly flew down. Du Zhu reformed his body, but it looked a little illusory. He cursed angrily. "What the hell is this? How dare he destroy my body? Fuck him!" Yi Zichen shouted. Du Zhu was very angry now, mainly because Du Zhu's body was destroyed. He did not even know what kind of existence the other party was. It was too sullen. Lin Feng did not say anything, because he felt that the unknown existence was quickly chasing after them. Lin Feng's energy was all focused on getting rid of that terrifying existence. He increased his speed and finally rushed to the bottom of the abyss. He quickly flew towards the depths of the abyss. However, Lin Feng kept feeling that there was a shadow shrouding his body. This feeling was too terrible. Lin Feng's expression became more and more gloomy. Right now, there was no way to get rid of the existence in the dark. Lin Feng could only continue to fly deeper. Not long after, he saw an incomparably huge ancient tomb. After seeing the ancient tomb, Lin Feng knew that ancient tomb should be the tomb of the 8th generation true Dragon Supreme Emperor. He had finally found this ancient tomb. However, right now, Lin Feng did not feel the slightest bit excited. This was because they had been targeted by an extremely terrifying and unknown existence. The current situation was extremely unfavorable for them. End of chapter. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.